Welcome to the Rogue Room. We hope you enjoy your stay.
Hello friends, my microphone's over there. Professional streamer. How you doing, lovelies? Kaz, my overlay's turned off, I'm so sorry, but thank you so kindly for the sub. Oh my goodness gracious me. 12 gorgeous months with you, Kaz. You have been one of my most ardent supporters. I appreciate you ever so much. Thank you so kindly for the sub. What a wonderful way to start the stream. I am sweaty as fuck. By the way, technically, just throwing this out there. I'm just going to throw this out there to anyone who is a streamer. If you have received a payout from Twitch, you're a professional, fam. Okay? Get that into your head. There's a boost of confidence for you. If you have ever been paid by Twitch, you are a professional streamer, or paid in ad revenue by YouTube. You're a professional YouTuber. If you've made money off the back of your content creation, you're a professional. Maybe not like a rich professional who's made a lot of money off it, but any amount. Anywho, you made baby baked white chocolate cheesecakes. Oh my god, I'm salivating. Why would you say that to me? Even if you don't make that much, yeah, at least semi-pro. I'm not pro. I can't live off this. But anyway, welcome in everybody. I hope you're having a lovely time. My makeup is probably just going to sweat off. I just did the whole speed run, get through everything. Foundation, concealer, contour. My contour is terrible. I think I need to work on contouring. I don't know how you do contouring. 100% facts. Thank you. I got some tea. I made the dumbass mistake. Absolute dumbass mistake of making hot tea. And it's hot. It's gonna be one of those nights where I'm sleeping without the sheets on. I look cute, thank you. Alright, let's get one thing out of the way really quickly. I wanna throw this idea out there into the ether. LGBTQIA plus roundtable. Here's the thing. Alright, I could make cold tea, I could. I don't know if you can steep a tea bag in cold water, but I could try that. Either that, or I could make, oh, well, you know what? The hydrate can be the tea. I keep forgetting to bring water, sorry. It's good though. It's good tea. Good leaf water. Anyway, I want to do this at some point soon. Gather together a few LGBTQIA plus creators. Get them on board. Let's have a chat. Have a video chat. Maybe a special episode of Mask Off soon, which is Monday, 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, if you are here. And the idea would be we get a bunch of people together and we have all these different ideas around, particularly regarding harassment on the platform. Right, so it's a concept. It's not actually... We're not doing it now, for anyone curious. I realize, that's going to pop up in my thumbnail and people are going to click on it thinking it's happening this moment. No. It's an idea... The Alphabet Mafia. I mean, that sounds pretty cool. That does sound pretty cool, actually. You're the B. That is bisexual, isn't it? Yes. I'm the... Why isn't NB needs to be in there, yeah. I'm the L and the T. I get 2 letters. Look at me. And arguably the A, but as in I'm attracted to women, thus the L. But I'm I have virtually no sex drive. I have no interest in it. So I'm am I ace? I'm not sure yet. I'm waiting to see if my sexual drive comes back, but let's not get into my lack of the horny. Get rid of that tea bag for right now. Wondering why you're saying up late. Yeah, it's 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time right now. I have to get used to saying daylight time because like there's 2 different time zones. I'm usually in Australian Eastern Standard Time, but I guess because of daylight savings, it's AEDT. It's hard to say. Following a lot of Aussies, that's good. There's a lot of good Aussies out there. A lot of good Aussies on Twitch, I reckon. Barjo's one of them. Jordan Rasco's another one of them. Excessive Profanity's a good sort. Pixel Smixel, she's good. I'm gonna shout out Hyperstrike. I don't know if Forget Mike is streaming anymore. I mean to have him on the show soon. I want to have Forget Mike on soon. Because he does stuff outside of streaming that would be really... I can speak English. It would be really interesting to pick his brain about some stuff beyond streaming. Because he's intelligent in a lot of business stuff. Yeah, he's on a break, I think. He's on a break. My tea is slipping out of the cup. Who else? Calgar, obviously. Mrs. Lalante. Thunder Mace, my friends. Who else can I think of that's a Australian streamer that we can shout out really quickly? And Mrs. L is someone who I wouldn't mind getting on the round table. Obviously you, Ren. Maybe Ruthie. Who else can we get on? Ambitious, I believe, is how you pronounce it. She's been in my stream before. Oh yeah, Cat's Kitchen. She's a good Australian streamer as well. Yeah, I'm Australian. I should have me on, yeah. Do an Aussie roundtable as well. But yeah, I'm considering this concept right here, the LGBTQIA+ roundtable. Talk about harassment on Twitch, primarily. Talk about that concept. Because, I mean, I've got pretty thick skin. I don't care that much. If some dickhead comes in and says stupid shit, I'm just like, you're a nobody. Go away. No. But I think the concept of harassment on Twitch and how prevalent it is would be a good topic to talk about. No, they don't have to be Australian. No. Not at all. I'm just talking like I would like to get a bunch of queer creators together for this roundtable discussion. I gotta look at the camera more often. I gotta look at you more often. In order to have these kinds of discussions. Because I'm sure there are plenty of us out there who've got these different ideas. The one crucial thing, though, I've noticed there seem to be a few people on this platform, whether queer or otherwise, who tend to have too boisterous of a personality or they're too aggressive with their ideas. I don't want those kind of people on my stream. I'm going to say that right now. And I say this as somebody who does get a bit boisterous. But generally speaking, if I want to have a concerted, chill, and professional discussion about something, I want to keep things on the level. I don't want anyone flying off the handle, you know, any of that sort of stuff. Because I saw a clip today that's like, somebody was reacting to Destiny, I think it was. They were saying a whole bunch of stuff about Destiny. They were a queer person. And I think one of the issues that queer people face on the platform, like with anything, is if someone, for example, blows up and they're a part of our community, then those haters will just use that as ammunition against us. And I really, you know, that's the unfortunate reality of the situation. Anytime there's anyone that can make us look bad, that becomes a common thread against us whenever somebody is talking against us. Every time someone talks about Destiny politics, you get confused because you think of Destiny the game. So do I sometimes. Sometimes somebody will make a title that's like not really, it's like vaguely talking about one thing or another. I'm just like, Destiny, which Destiny? Which one are we talking about here? Had no idea who Destiny was until you heard about Vorsh, ironically. Yeah, as far as I know, Vorsh, the reason he actually got a following was because of Destiny, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, the LGBTQIA+ roundtable, that's a thing we'll be doing in the not too distant future. I will plan it out, I will contact some creators, there's a few that I want to have on specifically. They are dickheads, but at least Vorsh has good ideas. Destiny, the game, Dixtony is the streamer. I feel like Destiny has skewed much more heavily alt-right, it feels like. I want to say he's a bit of a bootlicker at this point. But I generally agree with a lot of Vorsh's takes, at least when it comes to political stuff, specifically. I'm not the kind... He's a streamer. So there's hours upon hours of content on a near daily basis. I can't sift through all of it. That's the unfortunate reality of being a streamer, is like you're putting out so much content all the time. And, excuse me. And not everyone, like I know some of you, will come in here and you're just like, oh, I'm sorry, I missed the stream today. And it's like, I might have said something really important. Or I might have said something controversial, or whatever. And somebody who's a regular fan of mine might have missed that entire thing, and might completely defend me to the death, despite the fact that I said something I probably should apologize for, you know? And that's the reality of being... whereas with a video creator, with somebody who's like PewDiePie, even though PewDiePie, of course, does stream and stuff like that, he's had a lot of controversies of stuff he said in a 10-minute video. All you gotta do is sit through a 10-minute video, you find what he said. And there are people whose job it is at this point. I'm certain, I'm 100% certain there are people whose job it is at this point to sit there and watch PewDiePie videos for their job, so that they can write a hit piece on him. Inevitably.
Welcome to
I'm
the
not his
Rogue
biggest
Room.
fan.
We hope you
Hi,
enjoy
Jude.
your stay.
Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Rogue Room. Sit down, grab a drink, chill out. Same to you, Flashfire. I gave you a very brief welcome in the intro, but chill out, have a drink, come and join us here in the Rogue Room. PewDiePie isn't particularly bad, but he's definitely... I mean, he's one of those people who's... I don't care about politics. That's a bad thing. That's a privilege, and I disagree with it. So, because he's got such a big audience, he generally avoids talking about it because he doesn't want to lose that audience, because he is inherently a very, very capitalistic person. He's got such a big fan base, and he's making so much money out of it, and he's moving his companies into a tax haven, as far as I know, so that he doesn't have to pay as many taxes in the UK, for example. Moving his company, his game company, or whatever it is, to another country to save money. He's very, very clearly a very millionaire type of person, if that makes sense. So he's very, very detached from his audience, who get very, very relatable to him. Like, I feel like his audience is the definition of a... what's that type of relationship we talk about with streamers all the time? Parasocial. The parasocial relationship situation, you know? We talk about the parasocial relationship, and I think that's his entire fan base. And as a result, he tries to stay relatable to his audience, to keep them hooked. And he doesn't want to lose them by by saying any sort of viewpoint, saying any sort of specific political viewpoint. And he's had people on his show. He's had Elon Musk on his show. He's had Ben Shapiro on. He's had people who are technically very politically aligned in their own ways. And as a result, you can sort of see either A, his politics through that, or B, you can see that he is that I don't care kind of person. To him, like, politics is almost beneath him. I'm fiddling with a tripod. I don't know why. Gonna go throw hands with your Wi-Fi router. Sounds good. I want to do that sometimes. Ben, date me AOC Shapiro. Ben stole AOC's shoes from the White House Shapiro. I don't care about politics when we do a ton of political things and make political statements as a joke. Yeah, kind of. You know what it is? You know what it is? Yeah, well, no, I don't think he stole the shoes, but someone stole AOC's shoes at the White House riots, and people have been joking that Ben Shapiro was at the riots. He was condemning them, though. I'll give Shapiro credit here. He was condemning them. He was saying this makes conservatives look bad. Really, conservatism is fucked in general, but that's a whole issue. Someone actually stole AOC's shoes. The audacity. But yeah, Ben Shapiro, at least on his show, was condemning the riots, condemning the violence, condemning the storming the Capitol. So kudos to him. As much as I hate his bullshit. Thank you, Fox, for hydrating me with tea. Why her shoes? Probably because they were probably stealing anything. They were probably stealing anything they could. And there were women there. They probably would have stolen her shoes. I dare say it. Politics are fun. Yeah, they're great. They're great. Excuse me. The extremists on both sides are fucked up, for sure. There's a lot to go into, like horseshoe theory and things like that, about one side will say one thing, and the other side will say something that's incredibly similar without necessarily... incredibly similar without being exactly the same idea, but it is the exact same idea, you know? But that's a whole discussion. Not a white supremacist or a racist. I think if he is, he's good at hiding it. because I dare say a vast majority of his actual audience is white kids, generally speaking. I think definitely his, I think generally speaking, the vast majority of his crowd, is children. Even if he has, because you'll notice he swears in videos and they bleep it every single time. And it's like, he's got such a huge following, he wouldn't need to do that. But he knows that he's got a bit, I dare say he's got a bit of an edgelord, like 14-year-old crowd. Although, like, we can't really check the demographics of his audience. I do know, I was watching for a while and I was, 28 or whatever. I've always been. I only started watching any of his videos at an older age. So I definitely think he has an older audience, but he's denounced racism a ton. Yeah, he has. So that's good. And I think generally speaking, he does it on a surface level, though. I'm not saying he is politically aligned. I'm not saying he's definitely, I don't think he would be a white supremacist by any stretch. We can't really know, though, but I think he's definitely one of those people who will say what he knows will clear his name. And that's my take. Oh yeah, he said it multiple times, yeah. But I think he's at the point where he's definitely that kind of entertainer who doesn't want politics involved in his thing, which is a privileged viewpoint to have. I don't think either he does hold strong political viewpoints on this, that, or the other, and just doesn't talk about it, or he doesn't and has that I don't care attitude. Because, again, he's a capitalist. 100%. He's 100% a capitalist. He is 100% invested in having more and more money, which is a whole thing. In light of a straight coup d'etat attempt by people trying to force Donald Trump on the US for additional time, despite that coup attempt being very harebrained, in this climate you view trying to equivocate far-left activists in the US who are actually focused on civil rights with the far-righters who attack the US. That is true. I will say that. As much as the far-left have got some kind of ridiculous ideas, and I'm pretty far-left. I'm a pretty far down in the lefty libertarian corner. I'm like down here. Anyway, many thoughts on PewDiePie, many. I haven't watched any of his content in a while. I dipped out from it. I haven't heard anything from him in a while. I think he's just been playing video games. I don't care. If he doesn't care, I don't care. About the politics thing. If he doesn't care about that, I don't care about that. So if he's not, obviously, I don't believe. I think he's made quite a few edgy jokes in his career, and of course, that tends to get. That's the thing. Right, is like he tends to make a few edgy jokes in the in some of his content, and I think there are certain members of his audience who latch onto that. But with an audience his size, inevitably you're going to have bad apples. Cheers to that, Kaiju. Congratulations on your victory, even though it won the first round. But you win now, you won now, and that's the deciding round. Prefer Markiplier? Not as big. I think he is as big, honestly. We look at PewDiePie's 100 million subscriber count, and it's disingenuous. A lot of people made fake accounts to sub to him again, and all of that kind of shit. And I think, I think he's got a ton of people who subscribe to him who don't actually watch him. If you don't moderate your community, it's going to be dominated by the assholes. And in a way, yes, him denouncing white supremacists and racists and all of that kind of thing, denouncing those ideas in a one-off video every now and then is a way of moderating the community, is a way of telling those people to leave. And when you've got an audience that big and they're watching every video, they'll probably listen. Chances are. Because, if we go back to the Donald Trump thing, there was the situation recently where, in the light of the White House attacks, Donald Trump put out that video that was kind of denouncing everything, and a bunch of people on Donald Trump websites like the Donald.win and other places, there was a Donald Trump subreddit. And a lot of people on those were like, oh my god, I can't believe he would say this kind of shit. He's betrayed us, yada yada yada. And I think in the same vein, in the same avenue, you're going to have PewDiePie fans like that who, again, he's one of the biggest creators on YouTube, and thereby he's continually bringing in viewers. He's not on trending necessarily, but he's routinely hitting 3 to 5 to 7 million views per video per day. He's a daily creator, right? So he's always bringing in new eyeballs, and some of those eyeballs are not going to know about that white supremacy rejection sort of stuff. So I think every so often it's the case with someone like PewDiePie, where it's like he might make an edgy joke that leans into that kind of humor, that kind of edgy humor, and he'll get an article written about him, and he'll need to make another denouncement video. And those people who previously thought blonde hair, white skin, pale eyes, Aryan-looking dude doesn't support white supremacy, I'm out of here. You know, he's got so many subscribers that inevitably some bad apples are going to come by him, you know. Even people who've heard of him but never watched his content, or people who've never heard of him and just stumble across him as a result of recommendations. If you look into most YouTube careers, especially ones as long as PewDiePie's, Game Grumps, Jacksepticeye, Markipliers, you're gonna do something bad. It's gonna be shit. You gotta be ready to take accountability, say you're sorry, move forward, otherwise you'll never make it. Well, true. You need to be able to accept accountability. And this is why I fucking hate the whole cancel culture thing. I'm not gonna go into that. I'm not gonna go into the cancel culture thing, but Jesus Christ. That is just people with influence who do not want to accept accountability. And I have to give a lot of kudos to YouTubers and streamers and all that who put out apologies when they fuck up, because at least they can accept accountability. And there are a number of streamers now who are going, no, I refuse to accept accountability for saying the N-word repeatedly to a black person I had guesting on my podcast. Like, they just don't want to be wrong. That's the thing that pisses me off so much. Anyway, let me fix this just slightly. I want to be a little bit taller, because I'm already like 5'11". I deserve to show off my lithe, graceful form. Anyway, Markiplier is an angel and can do no wrong. He did have to apologize for something a little while ago, didn't he? Didn't he? I swear. He had to apologize for something, I don't know what. I should see, Tech Twitter was mocking the shit out of Parler's situation. Yeah, Parler's a fuck up. Parler is a technical fuck up. I don't know what. I need to go through all of the details there. He had to apologize for not uploading. I'm sorry, I was in hospital. My deepest, sincerest apologies. Also, Charlie, Moist Critical, had to apologize. Again, he seems like another one. There are a few of my personal, unfortunately, people I like on YouTube tend to be these centrist, I don't give a fuck types. Justin Wang, Charlie, yeah, again, I don't mind PewDiePie, but I think I'm a bit sick of him in terms of just like I don't care to watch his content anymore. But yeah, there are a few of them where they just sort of dismiss politics stuff. They dismiss any of it because, again, they have a big audience. They want to say the base level of good shit to keep their audience, and then not go. Of course, they don't want to go heavy on it with their content, which is fine. Not everyone needs to be super political. And yeah, Charlie does seem left-leaning to me. But he has mentioned he does mention in one of his videos, one of his recent videos, that he's on certain topics he's kind of centrist. If you choose to be neutral in times of oppression, you are siding with the oppressor. This is true. His take on the Carson situation kind of made you get more respect for him because 17 and nothing. Yeah, that's stupid. Like the Carson situation, I agree. 17 and 19. If the only reason I can, and again, only knowing the base details, their ages and all that kind of stuff, I heard there was some talk in there that might have been manipulative. And again, Carson's a huge creator, and he was at 19. He's only like, what, 21 now? He's not that much older than when this happened. But yeah, the issue is the power dynamic. When you are a huge creator, and this is the tricky thing, right? Like, if you are a huge creator, and you're available, and a fan expresses interest, and that can lead to a relationship. Like, we've seen that happen. But of course, if you are using your position as a creator who is very well known. I'm sorry if I've missed any messages. You guys are going off at the moment. I'm trying to stick with the topics, but you guys are going off. I love it. Thank you so kindly. Can I appreciate you all for a moment? I love you all. Thank you so much for keeping me talking. It's good shit. I love it. My daily sub goal hasn't updated. Let me just stream levels. I forgot to do the thing. We'll talk about gaming shortly. I want to talk about games and nostalgia and stuff like that. There we go. It's updated now. Okay, so the Carson thing. Yeah, if it's a 17 and a 19-year-old who have like no, it's like if you're a Here's the question. Here's the question you ask. Was she a creator as well? Would it have been? I don't know the details again, but like there has been the case numerous times, unfortunately, of a large creator reaching out to a smaller creator, offering them, I can help you blow up if we're dating, if we're together, blah, 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 whatever. That is grooming. That is definitely, or manipulation at the very least. It's almost 5:30 a.m. Radio Beer, have a good one. Thank you so kindly for being here. I'm going to give you a shout out as well. Everybody go check out Beer Bash Johnson, a fellow lefty, and a player. Am I following you? I feel like I did follow you. Yes, I did. Okay. I need to actually swing by one of your streams soon. If you're a larger creator, you'll just be like, you want to blow up. Yeah, that's the thing. Right, okay. So, if you actually looked at a smaller creator, liked their content, and wanted to help them get some more traction, you could offer them a collaboration. But if you are going to a fan who is a fellow creator, and you say, want to blow up, let's date, that's manipulation. And arguably, depending on the age difference, it can be grooming. So, that's a whole thing. So, if he was doing that, I don't know if he was doing that. And the whole sending nudes thing, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I wasn't following you until... I swear I did. This is the thing. I swear I was following you, and then I checked after the fact. I'm dreadful. Anyway, yeah, they're farts. They're feminism-appropriating radical transphobes, or reactionary transphobes. Something like that, I forget. Oh, God, I saw... Speaking of, who was that representative? Give me a second for it. Give me like a moment. Give me a moment. Give me a minute. So this, right? Can I like save to downloads? Give me a second so I can bring this image up. I saw this image on Facebook floating around. Not Facebook, Twitter, right? I saw this image floating around. Let me get rid of the title. We don't need that. I saw this, right? Here's this woman with a mask that says censored on her face, talking into a microphone at, was it Congress or whatever it was? She's on television. You're gonna curl up to sleep? Sounds good, Ren. Have a good rest. Have a good sleep. Thank you so kindly for being here. But yeah, here's this lady, politician, I forget what her name is now. And my first thought, unsurprisingly, is that J.K. Rowling? It's not. It's a representative from America. But like, you're literally on television, speaking into a microphone, talking to the country, wearing a mask that says censored on it. Bitch. Anywho, the whole thing. You love your gold X. It's cute, isn't it? I like it. I like how those turned out. Oh my gosh. 10:30 a.m. on Turf Island. I had a friend trying to convince me to move to the UK to get bottom surgery. And I was like, after everything I've heard, I'm not going to the UK until shit's chilled the fuck out with the transphobes. Much as I would love to go visit London and stuff like that. I mean, obviously there's a bit of a pandemic on, but... But I don't, yeah, I wouldn't, even if it was easier for me to get that scheduled and all of that. Because I was talking about how I wanted to change my name legally, and I may do that soon. I haven't done it yet. I'm not legally Abigail yet. I'm going to do that very soonish. And I tweeted about how, like, do I do it now? Or do I wait until I get the surgery and I can change my gender marker at the same time, kill two birds with one stone? And I'm like, I'm not sure. Which one do I do? How do I do it? You know? And I'm like, I probably should just change my name. I probably should just get that out of the way. Then legally on every document. And also update my driver's license photo, because I don't want to show it to you. But actually, can I bring it up? I can probably bring it up. Let me see here. Let me try something so you can't see any of my important details. Nah, it's too much effort. Alright, never mind. Anyway, I won't bring up my old driver's license ID photo, but you can imagine what it looks like. It's been the same for the past like 4 or 5 years or so. Back when I had short hair and wasn't routinely wearing makeup or dresses. To summarize. But fuck that censored bitch, true. Feel like telling you to get a haircut and a tattoo on her face that says I'm a dumbass. 4468 Mallard, what's that one? And Wigan Athletic. I'm not sure about either of those. How to trans woman seek asylum in New Zealand. Yeah, it's like... I've heard so many bad stories, even beyond the talking about the hormone blockers for teenage trans kids, and even beyond all of that, I've heard so many stories of trans people in the UK who are going and trying to get treatment, even just to get HRT. It seems like informed consent, which I used. My endocrinologist gave me an informed consent form to just sign that. It's like, okay, we'll get you started on testosterone blockers. 2 months down the track, you're on estrogen. That's how it was. There's no real discussion of the surgery yet because, I mean, we've talked about it, but I can't afford it. And the reason why I can't afford it is because the price is reduced on Medicare. I believe it costs about $4,000 to get what's called an orchidectomy, where they get rid of the testosterone factories, and the full vaginoplasty is like $30,000 after Medicare. So the cost is more than that. And they give you a rebate. That's how Medicare works. So you pay up front. You pay the full thing up front, and then they give you a rebate, which will bring the total cost down. Anyway, that's a whole thing. And I've heard that getting informed consent in the UK is very difficult. I've heard scheduling surgery is very difficult. Lots of really long waiting lists and all of that kind of garbage. Hello, Fortnite Lover 1738. How you doing? What's going on? Welcome in to the Rogue Group. How are you tonight? Here's some rules. Yes, those are my rules. Are they still the relevant rules? Or are they the not updated ones? Oh yeah, hate speech is not free. Yeah. Why are you posting my rules in chat? You love Fortnite, I noticed. What are the rules? I don't know. I don't have any rules. The bot can post them if the bot feels like it. Actually, you can view chat rules. You can actually view the chat rules, and I did update them. Okay, they're good. They're all set now. Okay. That's a weird troll. That's a very weird troll. Why were they coming and posting the rules? What? You did the exclamation mark rules. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. That's fine. I don't know why they came in posting my rules though. What? That's a weird one. Anyway, moving on. What were we talking about? Games and nostalgia. Sure, yeah, just punt them. I don't need that kind of shit. Games and nostalgia. Let's chat about something cool, something chill, something that gets everybody in a good mood. Playing a good video game. I haven't played video games in a while. Here's my background, by the way, in case you were curious. That's what my background is at the moment. I'm thinking of getting some like special art, either finding a special series of backgrounds that are specifically themed, because I do kind of have that right now. But if we go through, like if I bring up my wallpapers, very vaporwave. I love vaporwave. Where's my desktop backgrounds? Here's like my pixel art stuff, which there's a screw up in there, and then I got a trans flag as a whatchamacallit. And then we got background, we got wallpapers from various video games, which I don't think these are in my rotation for desktop wallpapers. I think those are only for my intro screen now, and all of my vaporwave stuff. I need more vaporwave wallpapers. That's what I'm looking for right now, stuff like that. That's my main rotation, and this is the one at the moment. Hello, Jelly, how you doing? It's good evening around here. We're doing Up Late with Rogue Bitch. We're going to talk games and nostalgia. Horny Indian man is horny. What was that the inference? Something looks like something. It's okay. I'm not gonna read. Why do I read troll messages? Even when they're gone, they're banned. They're not gonna come back. And by the way, like let's just get this out of the way right now. This is a bad problem with Twitch. This is an issue with Twitch. Also, excuse how flat my hair looks, please. It's very sweaty weather at the moment. I think I might tie it up. Give me a sec. Give me a moment. My hair's all sweaty. Pink scrunchy, look. Pink scrunchy. I mean, I don't mind trolling the trolls a bit. Maybe we should... Yeah, let's stick with, like, the warn. Let's start, like, if they're trolling, let's start with the warning. Warning, timeout, ban. Anyway, because I don't mind trolling the trolls a little bit, I think we could have some fun with that. Call them a simp, an incel, a virgin. Oh, wait, we can't do that anymore. Terms of service. Anyway. Let's tie my hair up because it's sweaty as fuck and it's irritating the fuck out of me. Okay. Cute pink scrunchie. Look at that. Gorge. Okay, so. What was I gonna say? Okay, games, nostalgia. I wanted to talk about, like, what are your favorite games? What are the games that you always tend to come back to? Like I mentioned, we were supposed to start with this, but we didn't end up getting into that. We got into politics! Why do I always get into politics? I don't have political education. Can I clarify? I have a lot of slant. Okay, I have a lot of political skew towards the left. But I don't have a lot of political education, and I'm working on that slowly, over time. You shall return, you need a shower and wash your hair. Sounds good. Oh, your favorites are all Sega games. So I never actually got into, like, the old Sega stuff. The first console I ever owned was a PS1. And I had Crash Bandicoot Warped, the third Crash Bandicoot game on it. Which was, like, my first main game that I ever owned. Sims 2 is a fucking banger. Minecraft is good. GTA Vice City got me into GTA. GTA Vice City was legendary. The risk of telling you how to mod your community, just ban them. I mean, that's generally a good idea. The thing is, like, you know, how do you tell what counts as a troll? I mean, there are certain people who are just coming in and they'll just say blatantly transphobic shit. Get rid of them. Fuck them off straight away. I don't care about those. But if people come in and they make certain remarks, where it's like they're not really at that point yet. The remark, it looks like something a straight white man would have. But it's like, what exactly is straight white man about this? This is literally bisexual lighting. At the very least, this is bisexual lighting. Can I throw that out there? I have no interest in having a penis anywhere near me. Including that one. But I love bisexual lighting. Okay? Gorgeous. Purple and pink. Well, it's like, what is it? Red, blue, and purple? Is that what the flag is? The bi flag is? Gorgeous. It's that Ollie Thorne aesthetic in one of his videos. In his video Queer, he used a lot of that bisexual lighting, and it was, oh my god, an aesthetic orgasm. Anyway. You get a ban, and you get a ban. Games you always go back to are Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, classic Tomb Raider, and the Walking Dead Telltale games. Interesting. I'm curious, especially about the Walking Dead Telltale games. No, we're not going to ban you, Jelly. Don't do that. I say this as somebody who's only played the first Walking Dead and like the first chapter of the second Walking Dead, and I've played no other Telltale games, right? I say this as someone who's only had that experience. When I went and replayed like spoilers for the Walking Dead Season 1 Telltale game, I went and I replayed it with the specific intent of picking different dialogue choices. Hoping that as a result of that, because there weren't really that many choices you had to make that actually resulted in anything in that game. You know, there were a few you have to pick if this person lives or dies or whatever. And every time I made a different choice, the same result would happen. And that pissed me off about that game. I did not like the fact.
Welcome to the Rogue Room. We hope you enjoy your stay.
Dark Sentencer, welcome to the Rogue Room. Have a good time, chill out, grab a drink, sit down, hang with the rest of us. Here in the Rogue Room. Yeah, that irritated me to no end. And I will not forgive them for that. If you're going, especially given that Telltale games are story-driven, like there's virtually no other gameplay besides, it's effectively QuickTime events, the video game, right? Like that's the whole game. And if you can't be bothered to write another, like, alternate way of playing the game, especially given, like, if you go and save a certain character, those characters that you would save did virtually nothing beyond that point. They were alive. They were around for a bit. Some of them died off later. You know, because the Walking Dead zombies, of course. And it's like, okay, well, you could have just literally swapped the skin out and changed the dialogue a little bit, and it would not have been that much of an investment to add in the alternative dialogue, alternative scenes, alternative animations or whatever. But they literally went the laziest route possible for a game where, again, like you said, Jelly, your choices matter, but they don't. And that irks me a lot. And it raises, like, it begs that question. It's like, okay, I'm curious about replaying those games. I suppose it'd be like watching a movie you've already seen. You know, you already know the outcome. I've watched The Matrix, I've watched Back to the Future countless times. Good lord, I love Back to the Future. Good gravy. It's like real life. You think you have choices, but you're ultimately being trolled. It's all fake. But we're all living in a simulation. But yeah, like the thing that gets me about that particular style of game design is that we've seen other games where you can make decisions and they actually have an outcome. They actually have a result. One of the things that amused me about Mass Effect 2 was like the first DLC, first and foremost. Can I bring up the fact that in a sci-fi game about aliens and space and FTL travel, the first DLC for Mass Effect 2 was a human mercenary as a teammate. How fucking boring, BioWare. How fucking boring are you? I'm sorry, but if we are in a fantastical setting, can we please stop with the human shipmates? The human party members? I'm a human being. If I am playing in high fantasy fucking wherever, if I'm in space, traveling the stars, I want more fucking aliens. In a video game, that shouldn't be a problem. In live action, whatever. I get it. In live action, it's a bit more complicated to do too many costumes, too much makeup. I get it. But it's a video game. Don't give me more human characters. Humans fucking suck. Anyway. But, on the subject of choice, the reason I bring up the Mass Effect 2 DLC in this explicit example, I'm going to spoil a game that came out in 2010. You get the option to go and rescue this guy or something. You get to go and interact with him in some way, and throughout the course of his little mission that you do, there comes a time where you either save his life or you leave him to die. And that actually has an impact. You know, this is a DLC for a new crew member. And you get the option in the first meeting with him to leave him to die. And it's an actual impact on the game. You no longer have that crew member. He's dead. He doesn't come back. He doesn't have like a revenge arc. He's just dead. And that was my main thing with the Telltale games. Other than that, I did like The Walking Dead Season 1 as a game on its own merits. It was quite good and it had a very emotional ending. I think it did quite a lot of things well, especially in terms of its visual style. I think it was quite striking. I think it had a lot of merits to it. But the thing about the lack of actual choice does irritate me a bit. What else is there? I'm trying to think like what else is there in terms of those sorts of video games with lots of choice in them. Obviously, like if you pick any BioWare game virtually, Anthem, you get the choice to play a better video game. And I would always take that choice. Because Anthem is terrible. Anyway. However, beyond that, what else is there? I don't know. This is the funny thing. Like, BioWare has been my primary source of those kind of choice-driven video games. So I don't have a lot of knowledge of games that are in that genre, like that choice-based RPG. I suppose you could argue, to a point, Dark Souls has some decision-making in it. You get to talk to certain characters and they'll say, do you like sorcery? Do you find the magics unsavory? And you can say yes. And they'll go, oh, well that disappoints me. And then you can just go back to them later and change your choice and get the item anyway, so it doesn't matter. Choices in video games. Pathologic is meant to be good for choice and consequences. I've heard interesting things about Pathologic, specifically Pathologic 2. It seems to be fairly popular, that game. I've never tried any of them, though. Are they horror games? I think they're supposed to be horror games. But I think I get the suspicion, and I might be wrong about this, but it feels like, generally speaking, when it doesn't seem like there are many games coming out with that kind of choice-driven narrative style anymore. I don't know if it's just me who's perceived it that way, but it feels like it's much more few and far between to hear about a game that's coming out that's got choices. You got choices you can make. It's in the Humble Bundle. Let's have a look. Humble Bundle. Can I please have a Humble Bundle? I don't go on Humble enough. I feel like literally the only storefront I ever look at is Steam. Majority of the time. I look at Steam. Pathologic 2. Here we go. It is on there. Get all January games for $12. That's the Humble Choice thing. So you sign up. $10.39 a month for Australians if you get the premium best value. Limited time offer ends February 5th, 2021. Over $300 value for $10.39. There you go. There's what that is. Cyberpunk is pretty underwhelming with choices. I'm not surprised. I've heard it does actually have some decision making in it though. And The Witcher 3 was kind of good for it too. There were actual decisions you could make that had impacts. I think the issue with designing a video game... Let's change this to... Choice in gaming. Choice in video games. Is that too long? Yeah, it is. Let me change the size. Hang on a sec. That's always going to be the issue with video games and having choice options in them. Having dialogue choices, having the ability to like give the player an option to decide the fate of something in the game. People have far too many huge expectations. It's like, for example, if the decision you were to make were... And like the thing is, I've seen games do this very thing. It's like you can choose to put a car bomb in someone's car to kill off a character, and you can do that. Or you can choose the option of letting that character live. And I think in that circumstance, what may happen is you might come back around and that character is alive later on. You get to interact with them a bit. And that's... Like, this is the thing about, like, player choice in video games, is a lot of players have this idea of, I made a choice in a game, therefore it should have the biggest possible impact. But more often than not, they're pretty minor impact. Love seeing a mission locked off for your choices in Witcher 3. That was good. That was really good. Oh my god. Oh my god. My eye's itchy. Decision-making games always make you think of Skyrim, the game with no choices. You get to choose one side of the Civil War and it has no impact. Like, that's the... Skyrim is the epitome of video games that don't have any actual choice. Wide as an ocean, shallow as a puddle. I love Skyrim, but yeah, like, its decision-making leaves a lot to be desired. Can tell I'm fidgety tonight. I'm swinging back and forth in my chair. I hope that's okay with you. I hope that's cool with you, that I just, like, rotate my chair a bit and play with my fidget cube. But yeah, like the choice in like the Civil War, for example. What's the outcome in the Civil War? It changes some guards in different cities. And occasionally, like the major events in the game, what's most highly amusing, you can beat the full game, you beat the story, you kill the dragons off, they're gone. And people are still going to go on and on about how terrifying it is that dragons are roaming Skyrim. Or something else can happen, and so I forget what other quests there are where the outcome is such and such goes away. There's a few of those, and people will still talk about that as if it's a current event, and that irritates me to no end about that game. I think there are mods that fix that, generally speaking. But yeah, Skyrim does have that issue of no matter what you do in the game itself, your choices have, or your actions have no significant impact. Maybe not, but the main story stuff. Maybe not the main story stuff, but the side stuff. Yeah, there's quite a few choices in the side stuff. But the ultimate result is it doesn't do a whole lot. I think, yeah, again, there are other games that have had... This is the thing, is like Skyrim as a game, choice in video games with significant outcomes was not a crazy concept in pre-2011, before the game came out. and yet all the choices that we were given in that were very shallow. I feel like I had the same issue in Fallout 4 as well. And that could be either a factor of the writing or the fact that it's an open world game. I think it's the open world thing. I get the suspicion that generally speaking why we don't see a lot of choice driven stuff, and again, The Witcher 3 is The Witcher 3 is a stellar example of a game with a lot of choices you can make that have an impact. And it's still a huge, massive open world game with like a 200-hour story and all of that. So it's clear it can be done. I think it's just the amount of effort required. And of course, like with Cyberpunk 2077 and with Skyrim, The Witcher 3 had a very rocky launch. The open world games are just, generally speaking, not stable to begin with. And yeah, Skyrim's exploration is quite nice. I do love exploring Skyrim. It's a lot of fun. Just Bethesda things. First play, you killed Astrid instead of one of the captives. That's true. You can do... That's like one of the few choices that actually is any sort of significant. But the ultimate outcome, the unfortunate ultimate outcome, is you kill Astrid, and then you start a quest to wipe out the Dark Brotherhood. And then you go to someone, I forget who it was, and you get 10,000 gold or something, or 30,000 gold. You get some amount of money. And that's it. There's no, like, it doesn't open up a whole other different storyline, which it totally could have. It would have been a great idea if you could work with, was it the guys working for the Emperor? I forget what their names were. Yeah, you could work with those guys. You could have a little subplot where it's like, these guys are going to assassinate this person at this time. Well, the Imperials, no, there was like the Penitus Oculatus. There we go. They were like the antagonists of the Dark Brotherhood. I look amazing. Thank you. Later. How you doing? What's going on? But yeah, the Penitus Oculatus, the specialist faction from the Imperial side of things. You get to go and kill all of the Dark Brotherhood, and that's it. And you just turn in a quest to them and you're done. But you totally could have had a quest line there where it's like, okay, you killed their leader. Now we have to secretly pick off the rest of them because they're too powerful or something. I don't fucking know. Make up some excuse. Like, we've received information that the Dark Brotherhood is going to try to assassinate this person. You have to interrupt them and kill them.
Welcome to the Rogue Room. We hope you enjoy your stay.
Oblivion is an amazing game. I haven't played much of it. We're talking Skyrim. But welcome to the Rogue Room, Crazy Joker. How you doing? My name is Rogue. That's not the intro. Welcome to the Rogue Room. Sit down, have a drink, chill out. Join in the fun. Don't play open world games. I'm getting a bit sick of them. After Ghost of Tsushima, once I finally get around to finishing it, I'm being very, very, very lazy. Once I get around to finishing it, I think I'm going to take a break from open world games for a bit. Even though I really, like, Dishonored is sitting there. Dishonored 2 is open world as far as I'm aware. And I really want to play Dishonored 2. Because I love Dishonored 1. It's phenomenal. I'd love to play the sequel. How am I? I'm good. How's everyone else tonight? How's everyone doing? I hope you're all well. It's the Rogue Up Late show. I'm going to do another logo. I'm going to have Rogue Up Late. You're drinking. I have not played any Assassin's Creed since Black Flag. That was the last one I played. Finally started playing the Red Dead 2 story. That's another one I haven't touched. But good on you for avoiding spoilers. I think I've had the ending spoiled. I think I've either seen a screenshot or something. I've had some form of ending spoiled for me. Which sucks, because the internet can't keep anything a secret. You still play the old Sega Master System games a lot, like Sonic, Puyo Puyo, Alex Kidd, Fantasy Zone, and the Evil Paperboy. Those all, like, I know they are actual games, but they all kind of sound like made-up games that you would hear about in a TV show, you know? Like, either in a kid's show or in, like, a... What else would it be in? Like in some show for adults, I don't know. Where their kids going off to play Fantasy Zone. Why don't you go play Fantasy Zone on your Nintendo, sweetheart? Mummy has to have a talk to the police officers. I know they are real games though. That's the thing though, if you get into it. There are so many games. Like whenever I see a fake video game in a TV show, I'm just like, you didn't need to do a knockoff of Fortnite or whatever it is. And I don't watch TV shows often, but I know this is still a trope. Like, you didn't need to do a knockoff of Call of Duty. There's probably some indie game You could have easily just went to that studio and been like, oh, we'll pay you a small amount of production cost to use your game for 5 seconds of screen time. But no, they always have a graphic done up of a fake video game. Most of the time. Like shows like Law and Order, where they go to a witness's house and the witness has a kid. Ridiculous. And even then, how much could the licensing costs be? You're literally Law and Order, or whatever other show it is, whatever other movie it is, where they need a fake video game for 5 seconds. Surely it wouldn't cost that much. Spoiler alert, Templars are bad. They are bad. I haven't played since Black Flag. I decided at that point, personally, we're not even talking choice in video games. We'll change the title back. We're done with choice in video games. Games and nostalgia. Go back to this. Go back to this fun topic. This is actually quite good. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying talking about video games instead of politics for once. They should just use footage of ET for the Atari. We were talking about the pile of games, a pile of ET cartridges somewhere. There's a landfill, and you can go and there's just piles and piles of cartridges of ET and other games from the, what was it, the Atari 2600? Was that the console it was on? I forget, but there were piles and piles of Atari cartridges in a landfill in Oregon. I think it's in Oregon. From the video game Crash, I believe it was. Because if I'm not mistaken, the reason the video game Crash happened was because it was companies like Atari and Sega that were trying to push so much shovelware onto systems. The market was just absolutely saturated with garbage, and ET was some of that garbage. I might be wrong. Am I correct? I believe that was why the video game Crash happened back in the 1980s. 1984? That book that nobody's read? Was that when it happened? I don't know. Somebody enlighten me. I haven't watched Angry Joe's Cyberpunk review yet, no. Your wife got you the game because you're really into Norse mythology. Ah, yeah. And you liking it? You liking it? The Mickey Mouse Illusion games. I'm not familiar with those. I was thinking, like, strangely enough, as much as I hate Minecraft, it feels like it's one of those games, no matter what, I tend to go back to at some point. It's almost like an addiction that I relapse into every few months. You know, haven't played Minecraft in a while, let's start another hardcore run. Or Dark Souls. I would be so over the moon if they did Dark Souls 4. They won't. I'm waiting on Elden Ring. Fingers crossed we get some news in 2021. I always find it hilarious when I've seen a few articles talking about exciting upcoming games in 2021 and Elden Ring is listed. We know nothing about that fucking game. You can't vouch that it's coming out this year. We know nothing. I mean, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed I see Elden Ring this year. I think that's why Nintendo added that gold seal of approval. Yeah, most likely. Most likely, yeah. And I think we should bring that back. We should bring that sort of thing back, absolutely. It's kind of the inverse now. I think... Is Steam Greenlight still a thing? No, it's early access now. You got early access. If you look at a game and it's got that early access badge, you can safely dismiss it. Well, I mean, there are some good early access games. You've never played Minecraft. I would recommend it to someone who's never played it before. The problem is, of course, you know, it's one of the big issues that Minecraft has, in my opinion, is the fact that the game is very inaccessible without a wiki. I think they've fixed that in versions that are not Java. There is actually some form of tutorial in other versions, but for some reason they haven't added... I get the suspicion that Java has now become effectively their unofficial official development version. Because if you play the Java version of Minecraft, you get access to snapshots of the upcoming updates. So they'll release development versions that you can play through the updates before they're officially released across all systems. And I think at this point, Java, the reason it doesn't even have a tutorial in the Java version is because they've just assumed everyone who plays Java is pretty technically savvy. And as a result, they know how to look up the stuff that you need to know to play the game if you can't figure it out. And I mean, the game is pretty straightforward nowadays. It's got an achievement system that sort of guides you through things. But way back when I started playing it in alpha and such like that, like there was no instruction, there was no tutorial, there was nothing. You had no idea what you were supposed to do. It's a game about blocks. You could destroy blocks, you could place blocks. Games on PC seem way better. I will say yes for the most part. But PS4, PlayStation in general. I don't have a PS5. PlayStation in general has some phenomenal exclusives, and I tend to skew towards PlayStation because their exclusive games are pretty goddamn solid. Like, usually 9 out of 10. But I've got a PS4. I'm still very, very gradually playing through Ghost of Tsushima. I need to get on that. It's a big game. It's a big game. This is why I advocate that games should not be longer than like 60 hours, I think. Give me like 20 hours of story and 40 hours of side content and some difficulty modes. I don't need a game to go longer than that. I don't need several 100-hour games. I can't get through them at this point. The only point, the only game I want that's going to last for hundreds and hundreds of hours is Dark Souls. And Elden Ring. Give me that shit. Inject it directly into my rectum. Okay, that's that's all I need is like more From Software titles with significant length to them. Good lord. Rainbow Six, Valhalla, and COD. I've heard good things about Rainbow Six. Excuse me. Just going to mention your PS5. How dare you? I do want to play it for Demon's Souls. On that note, the Souls game I have never played, Demon's Souls. Or I've played up to the first boss on PS3. And I want to play it on PS5. But yeah, I've never played Rainbow Six. I've never played COD. Never played Assassin's Creed since Black Flag. I am a very big Souls head. And that's one of the games that, in its own way. Dark Souls 1 in particular. I've mentioned this a few times. Feels like home to me. That's my home game. I've got it on so many systems. I've had Dark Souls 1 on 360. Xbox 360 was the first console I had Dark Souls on. Then PS3. Then PC. And then I bought it again on PC. I bought Remastered, so there was Prepare to Die edition on PC. Then I bought Remastered when that came out in 2018. And then I bought it again on PS4. I nearly bought Dark Souls on Switch. Oh my god. Bloodborne or Sekiro? You know what? For those of you, if you're in here, let's make it a poll. Let's make it a poll. I love. I absolutely adore Bloodborne. I do, but Sekiro, I have to give it credit, is an incredible. It's just an incredible experience. It's an incredible. It's such a well-designed video game. Like, I have to throw that out there right now that, like, Sekiro is such peak game design for me. Mrs. Mini Eggs, how you doing? Welcome in. How you going? What's going on? Yeah, Sekiro to me is just this absolutely phenomenal example of really tight game design. Can you vote on what you like watching? Well, go ahead. Yeah, I don't mind. Either one. Either or. Whichever. But I think, you know, as much as I like the feudal Japan aesthetic, I do. I love it.
Welcome to the Rogue Room.
Welcome to the Rogue Room, Namine.
Enjoy your stay.
Namine1. How you doing? Welcome in. Sit down, grab a drink, chill out, hang out. Welcome to the Rogue Room. How am I? I'm well. I'm well, thank you. I'm a bit sweaty, though, because I'm in my bedroom with the door closed and my PC on. I got no aircon in here. Hey, Arena, how you doing? You haven't played any of them, but you like watching them. They are very fun to watch. Honestly, I get the suspicion that watching the previews of Dark Souls 1 and 2 particularly is what got me to buy them in the first place. Watching the gameplay previews, I watched like the gameplay preview of Dark Souls 1, and I was like, holy shit, this game looks good. Like the combat, like everything looked and felt weighty just from that trailer. There's a certain satisfaction in watching these games. And that's what got me to play them in the first place. And as a result, Dark Souls, for me, and there's this thing about Dark Souls, that There's this thing about Dark Souls, From Software games in general, where amongst the community, generally speaking, people will take the game they played first as their favorite one. I've noticed this. Even if they go back and play all the other ones, they'll, generally speaking, the first one is the one they pick. Bloodborne wins with 4 votes. There we go. Sekiro pulling up the rear with 3. It's a good poll. There we go. I'll agree with that. You're out of here. Have a great morning. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, it's a great evening. It's like 10 o'clock at night for me. Drink a beer for me? Yeah, please do. Have a good one, Joker. Thank you so kindly for hanging out. Abstaining from voting. These games are your babies. Yeah, that's the problem, right? It's like across Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, I will concede. I do like Dark Souls 2. I do. But I cannot give it the praise I give Dark Souls 1 and 3. You know, I can get through Dark Souls 1 and 3. No hit. Well, not no hit. But I can play them fairly well. But Dark Souls 2 has a lot of problems. And one of those major problems is the fact that the dodge system is not at all similar to the other 2 games. It's not satisfying in any way, shape, or form. And the dodge mechanic is so crucial to the Souls format. To the point where they actually radically changed it in Bloodborne. And it was, again, a very crucial component. They removed shields altogether. Witcher 3 or Skyrim? I get the suspicion a lot of people are going to... We do have a suggest a... There. I just had like a voice break then. We do have a suggest a poll option, but I'm like, if you want to throw a poll in chat, I don't care. Let's do this. This feels a bit unfair because Skyrim was released 4 years before The Witcher 3. And The Witcher 3 was much more story-driven than Skyrim. It feels strange to compare them. You have to get back to work. Radio eggs. Radio Ms. Mini Eggs. Have a good time at work. Have a good time at work. And we're gonna just chill out here and talk about games instead of playing them. I will say, yeah, Skyrim for nostalgia purposes, that feels very, how have I been? I've been good. And the red lip, thank you. By the way, Rena, thank you. I've been good. I've been enjoying, our streams have been really good lately, honestly. In terms of just sitting here and conversing. Everyone's been getting really active in chat and having a good old time asking questions and discussing things. It's been so good lately. This is what I crave more than anything else, is discussion. I love this format. And generally speaking, like across other things, I'll just ramble about myself for a minute. Fitness has been really good lately. Diet has been really good lately. Those are crucial. You did a thing. What'd you do, Rena? What'd you do? And also, I managed to steal my mother's acoustic guitar. I can't play it. I know a few very basic riffs. Imagine playing games I know, Draco. Imagine actually playing them. Who does that? But yeah, I think I like The Witcher 3. I played through as much of it as I could. As much of it as I could manage before I got to a point where I was just like, okay, I've had too much of this game. And it's almost like a TV series. I feel like The Witcher 3 goes through seasons throughout the course of its storyline. And like those seasons, of course, being the different main storylines that you go through. The Bloody Baron, and then Novigrad, and then or like Velen and Skellige and all of that. Like they're all of those different sections of the game, the different missions, the different plot lines, the characters you meet. It feels like a bunch of different TV seasons, and playing through the game, it did feel very, very similar to, I picked up a new show, I got all the DVDs. Yeah, I know, DVDs, shut up. I like DVDs. Or like, you know, you go on Netflix, there's a show I haven't watched, and you start watching through every season. And that's what The Witcher 3 felt like to me. You taught someone how to properly use they, them as a singular. By the way, hang on a sec. Did I sip? Tea has water in it, Fox. That counts as a hydrate. Anyway. Taught someone to use they, them as a singular. Use the example. If you find a lost backpack, you say someone lost their backpack. I hope they come back for it. That's awesome. That's awesome. I hope it sticks. It feels like it's such a tricky thing to get people to understand. Also on the subject, I need to make this a Stream Deck button. If anyone is not... I just punched the microphone, I'm sorry. If anyone is not already using the pronouns extension and would like to, I believe there are many channels on Twitch that are using this extension. excuse me. So if you want to assign your own pronoun badges and all that. Speaking of, you can't wait for your they them badges. I was just thinking about, earlier, if I were to be such a terrible person and go and become a slave to the capitalist system again, go and work my ass off at a job I hate, for a corporation I inevitably hate, under people I inevitably hate, it would be kind of exciting to have a name badge that says Abigail or Abby. I'd kind of like that. But I don't think I would like the 8 to 10 hours of labor I would have to do a day. Stocking shelves and serving customers and cleaning floors. I don't think I'd enjoy that. Being around people that, hello, Beangun, how you doing? How's it hanging? What are you up to? And what were we were on? Oh, The Witcher 3 and Skyrim. Which one won? Oh, it was a tie. It was a tie. Okay, The Witcher 3 and Skyrim was a tie. I'm well. How are you? So yeah, of The Witcher 3 and Skyrim, I think, I did enjoy playing it, but I got to a point where at the tail end, the last, say, 30% of The Witcher 3, I just kind of went from main story to main story to main story until I was done with it. I didn't want to go and do any more side story stuff. I was just completely exhausted. But then, of course, after that, I went and did the DLC regardless. So, even after finishing the main story, I still went on and did the DLCs. And being exhausted with the game, I still did the DLCs. Which was good. It was nice to get that out of my backlog. And I do definitely enjoy The Witcher 3 quite a lot as a video game. But there's something about Skyrim that has brought me back to it so many times. And I can't speak to exactly what that is. Maybe it's the modability of it. Maybe it's the fact that, there's so much... There's such a huge variety of mods out there that can change the experience at such ridiculous levels. That makes... That openness, I think, is very appealing. Whereas that you can mod The Witcher 3, but it feels like it doesn't quite click. I don't know what it is. It doesn't quite click. But yeah, Skyrim does have a bizarre amount of replay value. For a game that is as shallow as it is, it really is. It's a very, very shallow game on a lot of levels. But at the same time, there's a lot of replayability. There really is. There's a lot of variety. I think it's the fact that, you can do lots of characters. I have done the stealth archer thing numerous times, but I've also done the sneaky, stabby assassin type. I'm itchy, right here, and it's pissing me off because I don't want to ruin my makeup. I'm doing that anyway. I've done a spell sword. I've done a pure sorcerer. I need to try pure sorcerer again, but it's pretty gimped. Like magic in vanilla Skyrim is pretty shit. I have tried it, believe me. I want to try... One thing I really want to try is a pure illusion mage at some point. Someone who only uses stuff like rage, fury, invisibility, and all that. So, their primary function is to just do illusion. No other magic. They have to make other people kill each other to get past them, or calm them, or whatever else. There'd probably be stealth involved simply for illusion's sake, to make illusion work properly. To make invisibility work properly, sorry. But yeah, at the same time, here's another run I tried. It probably would get boring, because here's another run I tried. I went and I hired... We are talking Skyrim Bobicus. How you doing? Another run I tried was where I went and I got the Shield Maiden Mercenary, whatever. No, the lady with the big steel armor in Whiterun. And I did a pacifist playthrough where she was my bodyguard and I was this priestess character who just did healing. Fuck, that's boring. There's no fun to be had there. That was a terrible, terrible idea. Incredibly boring. Remarkably boring. There's nothing to do except spam heals on one target. It's just dreadful. Do not advise that. Another one I tried was... What was another one I tried? I think I tried the sneaky... I did try the Illusioner type, but I also did it as a sneaky stabby kind of person. Anyway. You never played... Kez, you never played Skyrim or Witcher? I think you should at least give Skyrim a go if you get the time, if you get the chance. It's pretty addictive, I will say. One you'd like to play is MechWarrior 5. MechWarrior 2 is one of your favorites. Is MechWarrior 5... Was that the one that had some kind of controversy recently or something? I forget. You like doing the fuck stealth route sometimes. I did the Thor run a while back. I did the, lightning mace Thor. That was fun. Playing Thor, God of Thunder. The only problem is there's no Mjolnir-looking weapons in the game unless you go two-handed, which is not right. You gotta have the one-handed mace, imbued with lightning, and you can't throw it and have it come back unless you mod it in, of course. Gotta do the true pacifist run where you use the Get Mad spell. That was... yeah, I've tried that one. That one's fun. Punch Guy, Punch Cat. You gotta do Punch Cat. Punch Cats get a huge boost to melee damage. So if you do the Punch Cat run, you can kill... You could do suplexes. I remember the specific patch they released where they added in a bunch of like minor upgrades, and one of them was they added a whole bunch of unarmed kill animations. And they did suplexes and DDTs and other nonsense like that, I think. It was great. You could do wrestling moves to kill enemies. It's fantastic. One thing I do wish they would... you want to see what another streamer is doing and you're just not worth your time tonight. What were they doing? Please enlighten me. Did an unarmed character. You should be able to do an armless character. All you can do is headbutt people. Ah, ew, Fortnite. Ew, no. There's a game I have no nostalgia for. Never played it, never plan to. There was a... What was I going to say? Shit, fuck. I've forgotten now. One thing that disappoints me, actually, going back to the choice in video games thing, I gotta stop playing with my earrings. One of the, going back to the choice in video games thing, this isn't really choice related, but it does speak to the shallowness of Skyrim. I hate the storyline for the Mages College. I enjoy it to a point, but it just feels like there's no need to be a mage to complete the Mages College, and that pisses me off. I feel like the Mages College should have been a thing where you need to be learning magic throughout the game before you can even progress, and that's just not a thing that happens. It's just some stupid fucking typical there's a bad guy you have to kill storyline. And that doesn't feel like that should have been what it was about. You could have factored that in, but the fact that there's no actual incentive to grow your skills as a mage for the Mages College, they really should have gone back and changed that. I know there are mods that can fix it, but I think the fact that it's not in there by default means that, mods are not going to have the depth that ideally a professional game studio would be able to add to it. Fingers crossed for Elder Scrolls 6 that kind of stuff isn't a problem and they take the criticisms and they actually make a better game, but I'm not holding my breath, honestly. And we've still got Starfield coming before any further Bethesda games. I think Elder Scrolls 6 is probably going to be out in 2025 at the earliest, or 2024. We're not seeing it anytime soon. I think Starfield is coming out next year, or this year or next year. To think it's been, as of this year, November 11th as of this year, it'll be 10 years since Skyrim came out. In the meantime, we've had the Elder Scrolls Blades. How exciting. Favorite runs was the perk mod that gives the block ability to charge forward with your shield up and enemies you run into get yeeted to the side. That's amazing. Killed a damn frost troll and high Hrothgar by charging into it. That's what you want to see. Oh yeah, they're going to do that, aren't they? Skyrim 10 years special edition. That's going to happen. That'll happen. Yeah, I don't know what kind of stupid bullshit they'll add to it, like an armor set or something. A gilded iron armor set that you can get right at the start of the game and is useless in 2 levels. Went through the mage thing with a sword. Yeah, exactly. You could go through the mage thing as a pure barbarian and you can literally, aside from needing to use the ward spell at the beginning and deciding to, and actually, you don't even need to with Feralda at the entry to the Mages College. You can just use dragon shouts to get through that section. You can go, I'm the Dragonborn! And then go to Feralda and just be like, hi, I'm going to shout at the floor now and she'll let you in. And then for the rest of the Mages College, the only spell you actually need to use, as far as I know, is the ward, in that first lesson. And then you go into the tombs a little bit later on, and you can use your shouts to break down that wall that requires magic spells. You don't actually need to have any magical skill in the Mages College storyline. It's stupid. There's a specific shield that has the ward spell enchantment on it. Hello, Starjumper, how you doing? Oh my god, I hate the Mages College for so many reasons. You had a bug in one of your playthroughs where she was gone, so you just couldn't get in. I believe, generally speaking, that kind of... I've had that bug before. And I just reloaded and it seemed to fix her for whatever reason. Dovahkiin uses unrelenting force. I'm something of a wizard myself. It's so dumb, and I really do hope that they bring back that sort of prerequisites for different, like, again, Dark Brotherhood or the Thieves Guild should have requirements for you to proceed in the storyline, in my opinion. And in my personal view, is they should have some kind of, like, ranking system where, like, your character is an initiate, and you need to, like, they did kind of do this with the Thieves Guild, I think. If I'm not mistaken, you did have to actually do a number of side quests. At several points, they would stop the storyline and say, okay, in order to proceed, you got to go and do some thievery. But I think it was only like once or twice, and then the storyline progressed like normal. But yeah, the Thieves... And the thing that annoys me about the Thieves Guild, spoilers for anyone who hasn't played it, the Thieves Guild ends... Otherwise, the Thieves Guild, as far as I know, doesn't require you to kill anyone until the final mission. I fucking hate that. I hate that. It's like, I'm... In the words of the great Garrett, one of the best thieves to ever live in gaming, I'm a thief, not a murderer. I wanted that experience, and they took it away from me at the very end of that storyline. I'm pissed. 10 years on, and I'm furious about that shit. Well, 9 and a bit years. Whatever, shut up. You're great. Up way too late, but sorry I was live. Missed your previous ones. Well, thank you for stopping by, Starjumper. I hope you're having a good one. We're doing good here. We're chilling out. We're hanging out. Not doing a whole lot. We're talking games. We're talking nostalgia. What are our favorite games? How have they impacted you? We've talked about my adoration of Dark Souls. I have too much of a love for Dark Souls, honestly. It's obsessive. You're eating minties. How dare you not share? How dare you? You once had a bug when Ulfric Stormcloak was almost nude. That doesn't sound like a bug. That sounds like a good time. Yeah, the Infinite Brotherhood quest was annoying too. Because it stays in your quest log forever. Like, once you finish the Dark Brotherhood forever. Go and assassinate person with generic job title name. Like, it's not fun. Elder Scrolls, Bethesda. Don't do that to me. Don't give me repeatable ad infinitum quests. Like, what am I gonna do with that? You can see through it in 2 seconds. The Last Guardian was short, but the only game to make you cry. I never finished that. I really should go back and finish that, but I think I got to a point where I was just frustrated with the way the creature behaves. Cheney is going apeshit. Why? Hugs the Final Fantasy series. That is, regretfully, perhaps, one of the only game franchises that I've never... Well, not one of the... I haven't got into a lot of gaming franchises. But it seems like Final Fantasy is such a cultural mainstay. And I've never had any significant time investment into any of them. I played a fair chunk of Final Fantasy 15, which I know is quite significantly different from the rest of them. But I've never gotten into Final Fantasy. And maybe 16 might be different, I don't know. Maybe I'll pick up Final Fantasy VII Remake at some point, I don't know. But I've just never gotten into them for whatever reason. I think originally, the issue of Final Fantasy for me was always, back in the day, the turn-based combat system, which of course over time has shifted and changed, and Final Fantasy 15 is effectively real-time combat. Which is why I tried it, actually, because it was so different. I could never get into that turn-based combat system. And I've given a few, like Pokemon, for example. I've given Pokemon a fair shake on occasion. But I can't get into turn-based. I've never been able to get into turn-based. And as far as I know, Final Fantasy 16 and 7 Remake have elements of turn-based, or elements of menu-based combat systems. Which I think 15 did have. 14 isn't turn-based? 14 is an MMO. That doesn't count. The 7 Remake combat is vastly better than 15's. Well, that's good. Off-subject venting time. Yeah, go on. Go ahead. But yeah, that was the main thing that drove me away from Final Fantasy in the first place, and then as a result, I think I just never got into it. I never picked it up. Turn-based MMO when? I'm sure there is one. In fact, I'm almost certain there's at least a couple. But I would be curious to see how, like, raids would work. You got 40 players in a raid. How would turn-based work in that situation? Does everybody pick what they're going to do and then everything happens to the boss and then the boss reacts? I don't know. I have no idea. You like turn-based, you like action, but mixing both worries you. It's why you're iffy on playing Yakuza Like a Dragon. All I've seen of Yakuza Like a Dragon is it's just turn-based. As far as I know, it is just pure turn-based. At least what I can see of it. It was just people, like, everyone's just standing there still. And then you pick a menu option, and then your character does the thing. And then the other character does the thing back to you. And then it goes back to everyone standing still, just sort of like, okay, now what? That's what I've noticed. At least from the little I've watched of it, it seems like that's the primary situation. But I don't know, I haven't played any Yakuza games. You're super nervous because you're going to be making your own wedding cake, because you can't afford a wedding cake. You said, well, I mean, at the very least, Rena, at the very least, you will have the sentiment, that's the word I'm looking for, you will have the sentiment of having crafted it with your own hands. Now, and to me, that would be far more important. If I were to have a wedding, I would at the very least like to have my family or friends or something make the cake for me, but I'm never going to get married. But yeah, that would be a thing, you know. Personally, I think the sentiment is far more important than spending a ton of money on a wedding cake. Even if a wedding cake will be fancy and pretty and whatever. You make it yourself and there's more value in that. In my opinion. And you have to make absolutely certain that your wedding cake is not like my auntie's wedding cake from who knows how many years ago. That thing was as solid as a fucking rock. I don't know how they did it. They couldn't cut through it. That should have been a sign that the wedding wasn't going to last. Right out the gate. You could always get 3 Coles mud cakes, stack them on top of each other, and cover them in vanilla icing. Fuck yes. Now, you know what? One birthday one year, I specifically asked my family to get me a ice cream cake for my birthday. And they did it. And they did well. They didn't just get me like one of those out of the freezer ice cream cakes out of the frozen section, which was what I wanted. I was just like, just get me one of those frozen ice cream cakes because I like ice cream cake. They went to a cake shop and requested a birthday ice cream cake and it was glorious. There we go. If I ever get married, we're doing ice cream cake. If I ever have a big fat lesbian wedding, having ice cream cake. Vegan ice cream cake. I feel like I'm turning vegan slowly. I gave my kids vegan nuggets tonight. Potato chips and veggies. Very, very meat-free dinner. They liked it. They liked the nuggets. Rice and quinoa nuggets. They were good. They were alright. And I've got some meat-free patties in the freezer that I'm going to try. I'm going vegan slowly, guys. I'm going vegan slowly. Seems like. Slow descent into far leftism. Going vegan. Did the cake have icing? Wait, I've forgotten which cake we're talking about now because there's been several brought up. That was before I mentioned the ice cream cake bit. We're making a gluten-free Pillsbury funfetti wedding cake because apparently your fiance wants funfetti. Is that where like the confetti's in the cake and it bursts out? That sounds like a nightmare. If you want to cheat a bit, you can do a bottom with actual cake to cut and then use Rice Krispies. Oh, that sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. Excuse me. Cake with sprinkles baked in. Ooh. That sounds fun. That sounds good. I like that. Don't start calling meat eaters murderers. I know, like, it's not, they're not murderers. Meat eaters, I mean, I've been eating meat forever. That would be hypocritical of me to say that. They're not murderers. I just think that eating meat is a specific privilege that a lot of people overlook the reasons behind the fact that they can eat meat. Now, the people that go out of their way to say, I hate vegans and I eat meat in spite of vegans or whatever else, or like, fuck the animals or whatever else, blah, 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 blah. I hate that kind of attitude. But I'm not going to bemoan someone for eating meat. And I mean, I still do. I'm not planning on going vegan overnight. You know the cost? I've still got meat in my freezer, and I do not have any money to buy a whole bunch of veggie-based options just yet. Chill out. I'm actually one of those few people, it seems like, where I don't really eat steak on the subject. on the subject of steak. I've never really gotten into it for whatever reason. I don't know why. There's a bundt cake shop near your house and it's so good. You can get a mini one. What's a bundt cake? That sounds familiar. What's a bundt cake? Cake. Oh, I know what a bundt cake is. Okay, yeah, I know what these are. They're butthole cakes. Or sweet rolls. They look like sweet rolls. Like, look at this thing. Looks like someone ejaculated on it. For goodness sake. They look nice, though. I'll have to give them a go. I mean, rainbow cake. Ooh. Ooh, that looks pretty. As a booty hole. Oh, gosh. We're talking about cake. Can I make it even bigger? Let's make the font like... Cake. Anti-vegans piss you off more than vegans. Yeah, I get that too. It's like, I will get annoyed if you start prattling on to me about veganism and all that sort of stuff. And start moralizing to me. But, at the same time, I can understand their viewpoints. Because they actually do have a valid stance. Vegans actually do have a valid moral stance of... There is an entire industry devoted to the abuse of animals for the sake of profit, for the sake of providing everyone with meat. And I think the fact that that industry is so prominent is taking potential revenue away from efforts to expand into meat-free options. However, what else was I going to say? But yeah, like the anti-vegan thing. The people who are so adamant that they need meat that they will actually go out of their way to attack vegans, who generally speaking are just trying to educate you on the situation. You know, as much as we like to prattle on about how annoying vegans are, about their particular... I mean, not I don't do this anymore. But as much as people like to prattle on about how annoying vegans are about their attitude towards things, I've noticed that generally speaking, anti-vegan attitudes are always aggressive. I've seen aggressive vegans. I have. I mean, obviously you've got those people like... You got the idiots that work for PETA for some reason. Fuck knows why you would work for PETA knowing everything they do. Or volunteer for them or whatever. But generally speaking, attitudes I've seen from vegans are of an educational standpoint. We want you to stop eating meat because this. But anti-veganism is generally that aggressive, haha, fuck you, I'm gonna eat a steak and love it. I'm gonna rub it in your face. And I'm just like, that's entirely unnecessary of an attitude. Cool with letting vegans be vegans, but throwing gays under the bus. What? There was this one person who claimed coming out as vegan as... oh, I see. It's harder than coming out as LGBTQIA+. That reminds me of someone. A streamer who lost a lot of viewers. Anyway, who claimed they came out as right-wing. Oh, sorry, you came out as right-wing. Okie dokie. Sweet. Hey, Ruthie. How you doing, darling? What's going on? What's the news? Yeah, I know. Came out as right-wing. Like, what? I don't think so, doll. You wouldn't want to admit you were right-wing. And that should be the first clue. If you feel that you are compelled to stay in the closet about being right-wing, alarm bells. People who are queer, first and foremost, we don't have a choice in the matter. And even if we did, that's a whole other discussion. Get back in that closet, right-winger. People who decide to be right-wing have the choice to be right-wing. And they can actively decide at any point to educate themselves on why people would be left. And educate themselves on why people would not want to be right-wing. Educate themselves on why right-wing is potentially seen as a negative thing by a lot of people. They have that opportunity. Imagine telling your parents you watch Ben Shapiro and they disown you. I mean, I'd let my kids get away with watching Ben Shapiro as long as they don't believe anything he says. Because I think it's crucial to watch content you disagree with. But if they do agree with it, then yeah, get out of my fucking house, you little shit. I don't think they do. I think they're uneducated and too stupid to not... I mean, that's true. There's a lot of people who are I don't necessarily think it's stupid. I think it's potentially indoctrinated. That's the thing. But anyway, yeah, everyone go check out Ruthie, by the way. Ruthie is a friend of the show. And I do intend to have you on the stream soon, I believe. If I have not already asked you, consider this my formal invitation to mask off on one of these coming Mondays. I do believe we had a chat about it briefly. Ruthie is awesome. Go give her a follow. Go give them a follow. You've got she, they. That makes it confusing for me. I feel weird getting pronouns wrong when I am someone who's so adamant about her own pronouns. And like I had this brief chat with my mother today about the whole thing with my grandmother dead naming and misgendering me on Sunday. I'm just like, it made me uncomfortable. It kind of ruined my day having my grandmother sitting next to me, calling me my dead name and referring to me as he and him. And she's just like, yeah, but she's 90. And I'm like, you've got a point. But yeah, I think it's definitely a matter of indoctrination. This has nothing to do with cake. We're getting into politics. Hold up. Give me a sec. There we go. This sounds horrible, but she won't be doing it long. I've had that thought. I will mourn her, of course, once she passes. But it does, like, it still doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. As my mother has told them, the topics of politics, well, we could get into the political discussion of the anti-queer bakeries. Remember that? Back when gay marriage was a conscious and controversial topic in the political discourse, there were, of course, a number of bakeries that explicitly refused to make wedding cakes for gay couples. Right? And that's their prerogative as a business. And if people decide to boycott that business, that's their prerogative. We can even talk about that. Yes, we are totes good as long as you don't call me... Well, there you go. There we go. However, do call me a woman. That's a thing. Although I've been thinking about that recently, I like the term woman for me. I like the term girl, lady. I like she, her. But I have been specifically pontificating on the notion of such labels and how absolutely unnecessary they are. Think about Jim Sterling recently coming out as non-binary gender trash. What is gender trash? What is man? What is woman? They're categorizations that we never gave ourselves. We never decided that. And them coming out as gender trash is a perfect summarization of how stupid the categorization of genders is. By the way, I fully support Jim Sterling. I think they're an amazing creator, and you should go follow them.
The Rogue Room appreciates your recommendation.
Jelly, thank you so kindly for the host. But anyway, back to the cakes. Back to the political cakes. Yeah, I've been feeling the gender thing in general is just fucking stupid overall. The people who were for letting businesses decide are upset Twitter is banning them. Yeah, exactly. The thing that's killing you now is, you know who getting banned from Twitter and they're going off First Amendment. And like, Twitter is a private business and you guys fought so hard for private businesses to be allowed to deny. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's only free speech. They only bring up the free speech thing when it's them. But this is the thing, and I do believe I mentioned this briefly in my next video. Excuse me. I'd bring up the notion of free speech, compelled speech. A lot of right-wingers have this idea of compelled speech, that the left, if they manage to ascertain power, are going to legislate that certain thoughts and ideas are not allowed to be expressed. My personal opinion, and there's a certain guy, there's a type of guy on Twitter who's so ardently free speech, but his idea of free speech, of course, is that you should be allowed to say anything and everything anytime and suffer no recompense for it, including from corporations like Twitter. There's a guy. Okay? There's a certain guy. That's not what free speech is. Free speech is explicitly being able to speak out against the government and them not being able to take action against you for it. Which, by the way, the Australian government which is full of a bunch of coprophiliacs, for the record, does not actually have, Australia in general, we don't have free speech. We don't have freedom of speech as America does. But still, I will reiterate, the Australian government is full of coprophiliacs. Coprophages. Go look that up if you feel like it. I won't clarify what that means on my stream. But anyway, free speech doesn't mean being an asshole. But like I've mentioned in my rules, free speech is not hate speech. Yeah, hate speech is not free speech, sorry. It's not welcome here. So, you don't have the right to go out of your way to make someone else feel uncomfortable. And if on Twitter, for example, let's just take the Twitter example. A lot of people on Twitter recently are being banned from the platform. There are a number of people on Twitter being banned from the platform for explicitly engaging in discussion, the likes of which is very similar to what led to the political event on Capitol Hill, the riot, the siege on Capitol Hill. There were people using avenues like Twitter. There were people using other social media to organize these events. And if you let these people have these massive platforms where they can organize and orchestrate these things, there are some people, for some reason, again, this particular type of guy, it's Count Dankula, I'm just going to say, it's Count Dankula, this particular douchebag, he's the guy who did the Nazi pug thing, anyway, this particular dude seems to think that, we should be, people should be allowed to freely express literally any idea whatsoever and not face the consequences of, for example, big tech, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc., YouTube, Twitch, shutting down channels and content and accounts they disagree with politically. Again, corporations are private entities, and yes, there is some arguments to be made against the ideas of... Hang on a second. Is Spotify working? Give me just a sec. Okay. There is some concern about big tech taking the reins here, because big tech is bigger than any government. Big tech, let's be honest with ourselves, is bigger than any government. And that is a potentially volatile situation when you start shutting down certain ideas. However, we are at a point now. In the past, there were fringe groups on the internet who would routinely state the most hateful, most vitriolic, most violent things they possibly could. And they were kept isolated in their little bubbles and they didn't do anything. Or they did very minimal. We just recently had a siege on the White House, the federal building of one of the biggest democracies in the world. I think these big tech companies are entirely within their right to shut down any discourse from groups that are actively engaging in, for example, one specific example I remember recently, there was a guy who was banned off Twitter and everything else because he was explicitly stating that they need to get their little fasci groups together and start violently attacking the news media. Start tracking down where the news media are living, go to their homes, their place of business, and literally kill them. This used to be something we could probably safely ignore. And as bad as this is to say, maybe one reporter would get killed by some radical. Now we're facing a situation where there are a lot of radicals. There are a lot of them, and they are communicating and they are organizing. And I don't want to see reporters... We already saw, this is already bad enough, we already saw piles of cameras on the lawn of the White House being taken off the news media and smashed on the ground. That is suppression of the media. That is worse. That is demonstrably worse than allowing hate groups to exist on social media where they can gain even more of a following, even more of a foothold. If you start shutting down the news media, if you start shutting down anyone who can report on what's going on, that is far worse than getting Nazis off your platform. I'm sorry, but it is. The reality of the situation. They already have more protests planned? Yeah, they do. We already know there is something planned to happen on the 17th and potentially on the 20th. So that's what we're worried about. You wish there were more laws surrounding the media. It's become a joke, and reporting should be far more valid than it is. It should. And that's why we do need sites like Bias Check, Media Bias Check. You should be able to go onto those websites and validate exactly what you're reading, exactly what you're seeing. And my personal opinion is find a bunch of sources. Find a bunch of different news sources. Don't just subscribe to one. Don't just watch one news channel. Don't just read one newspaper or whatever it is you do to consume your news media. Go and find a bunch of them, even ones that disagree with you. Consume all of it and be very critical of all of it. I am always an ardent defender of criticism. You need to look at everything through a skeptical lens. All this talk of America and me and Americans is just... I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you, Draco. Actually, there was a meme, human. Most news networks don't have reporters, they have panelists, it's true. If you see someone using panelists or a lot of opinion pieces, you can, to a degree, disregard their opinion. We need reporters. We need people in the field who are asking the hard questions, who are getting the real information and relaying it to us. But unfortunately, as much as we might admire leftists more than right, especially now, especially in this point, in this particular time frame, I need to be as ardently libertarian left as I can, as soc-dem as I possibly can. I need to be staunchly shouting down and denouncing anyone on the right. There's no point in trying to be friends with these people anymore. And my goal would be, hopefully, fingers crossed, I need to open my mind a little bit more on this. I need to educate myself a little bit more on this. There are many... It comes out of the right-wing closet. Get back in there! I need to... I will safely admit this right now. Freely admit this on live stream. You can clip this if you want. I am not the most politically educated individual, but I do follow a lot of political news media. I do try to keep up to date on most things, but there's theory that I have not read, and I need to get that into me. I'm gonna hit up the library soon, I think. See if I can find some good political theory books. If anyone has any recommendations, that's the tricky part, is self-educating. You know, I don't want to go back to uni. I am considering it. I'm considering going back to university for sociology. I want to go do sociology. At the very least, if this streaming thing don't turn out, don't end up with me in a position where I can live off this, which is the goal. 4 more subs. Can we hit 5 subs? You get ad-free viewing on my channel. The goal is to turn this into a job and to use my voice to educate, de-radicalize, and inform. You know, and my ambition would be to go into a Bachelor of Sociology, which would help with that. But the problem, of course, is that I'm looking at least 3 years of university if I do it full-time, and 8 if I do it part-time. Up to 8 years on a bachelor's degree, which might net me fucking $55,000 a year. Pitiful. I could live off it. But sociology doesn't get you jobs. The unfortunate reality is, social workers with a bachelor's degree don't get a lot of work or don't get highly paid. We're not valued by society. And we should be. I consider myself a sociologist, a philosopher, and a political theorist. But anyway, it's gone to the point where that you went. Hang on, let me go back a bit. Imagine being an American at any point in history. I know the American dream has never been that great. Friend is a reporter. You don't want to associate him with the media. Just want to hole up in your house right now. Yeah, if you were in America, I would feel the same. I'd be pretty agoraphobic, honestly. I'm agoraphobic in Australia most days. You're just a bisexual autistic guy trying to survive in this train wreck of a country. At the very least, I mean, this is the thing, this is what's scary. But at the very least, America is still one of the better places for queer people. But it could very easily turn very bad. You could be in a worse country, but it could very easily turn very bad. Because Trump has no interest in protecting queer people. He never has. And thank fuck he's getting voted out of office. The day of the riot, he basically spent the entire day trying not to have a panic attack and still ended up crying before the end. Yeah. I feel like that whole situation on a socio-political level. Here's a hot take. I feel like that siege on Capitol Hill on a socio-political level was worse than 9/11. Not even considering the deaths, just considering the failing of democracy in that moment. Considering what that could lead up to. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but in 1923, Adolf Hitler attempted a coup. And then he failed and everything was fine after that. No, it wasn't. He was sentenced to jail. He and his co-conspirators were sentenced to jail for 5 years. They got out after 9 months, and the assumption that he was going to go back to Austria and retire, right? Didn't happen like that. In 1938, I think it was 1938, he got re-elected, put into power, was given emergency powers, and World War II. 6 million Jews dead. 10 million other people dead at the hands of his regime. Pretty bad stuff. Pretty rough, I would say. And we are looking now at the very first attempt at a coup. And I mentioned this last night, that a failed coup attempt with no consequences is a practice run. There needs to be hard and fast and long-lasting consequences.
I see you
Calgar,
guests. Welcome, friends.
we're on your favorite topic. Political nonsense. How was Metal Gear Rising? How was it treating you tonight? How was the wacky craziness of very totally non-political game Metal Gear Rising Revengeance? Hey, Fluffy. That game had a lot of political themes just off the little bit that I saw of it. I might have to dive into Metal Gear. So what he's saying is now that Count Dankula is out of prison, he's going to be the next US dictator. Yes. Look out for Count Dankula. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the woman that I thought was J.K. Rowling, said she will introduce impeachment articles against Biden. For what? Can I ask that question? What's she going to introduce impeachment articles against Biden for? What do they think is going to happen? He hasn't done anything. He's not the president yet. What has Joseph R. Biden done? What does the R stand for? What has Joe Biden done that could possibly, even mildly, validate an impeachment when he's not in office yet? That doesn't make any sense, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you dumb shit. Get that stupid censored mask off your face and get out of office. Dumb bitch. Robinette. What an unusual middle name. Robinette. Anyway, welcome in, Raiders. Metal Gear was insane. Not quite finished. They're trying to kill the president. Can they try to do that now while Donald Trump... I'm surprised, and I'm sure there has been attempts on his life that we just haven't heard about, but I'm surprised no one has had a real solid attempt at, assassinating the President of the United States. Assassinating Donald Trump. Again, I feel like it probably did. There was probably someone who was planning it and probably got shut down and all that. But just on the fact that he's such a divisive president. Yeah. It's really kind of bizarre to me that we didn't have that kind of event. There was that one autistic 16-year-old who turned up with a gun to an event. You're gonna have to get ready to leave. Radio Rena, some of what you said earlier. You're American, you're scared of America to the point where you... Oh yeah, I read that, sorry, I missed that. Sorry, Rena. That is a good thing. Please protect yourself. If I was in America, I would absolutely own a gun for self-protection purposes. Even if there is the risk of someone else getting it out of my hands in the event. But just, please, be safe. And in my personal opinion, yeah. If I were in America, I am pro-gun in America for self-protection reasons. I'm not pro-gun in Australia for Port Arthur reasons. I'm glad that we don't have guns here in Australia. But if I were in America, given how many guns there are in America, I would be pro-gun. It's kind of a weird stance to take. But it's more of like I would need a gun if I were to live in America because everyone else could potentially have one. And that fucking terrifies me, especially knowing how many violent bigots there are in America who are noted firearm fanatics. Make sure you get yourself fully trained up, Rena. Have a good one. If you're still there. Have a good one. I think they'd be able to track his location easily from his intense Twitter activity. Where does he go? He goes to the golf course. An autistic British man who tried to grab a police officer's gun at a Donald Trump rally will never set foot outside the UK again, his mother has said. Interesting. He was British. You feel oddly proud. That's unusual. I didn't hear about that one. But yeah, like, I feel like... And maybe the reason we didn't hear about assassination attempts on Trump. Maybe the reason we don't in general. I don't even recall hearing about any on Obama, but generally speaking, President of the United States invariably has people who would be assassins. People who would be planning these attacks. I think the reason we don't hear about it that much, or it's heavily underreported, I don't know why I'm playing with this tripod, but it's quite cathartic at the moment. I think the reason we don't hear about it is because, for much the same reason we should probably, is an unfortunate take, not report on school shootings as much, is because it leads to copycat syndrome. I think if they were to report on who knows how many different assassination attempts on a political figure like the president, that would lead other people to get cocky and say, oh, well, they failed, but I could do it. And that's become a big thing, especially like copycat killers. You report on a big serial killer situation, you inspire other killers. If you give them a personality, you inspire more. You give them some kind of 15 minutes of fame, it can lead to really bad circumstances. So maybe that's why we haven't heard about any assassination attempts. Maybe the media keeps that under wraps. Maybe the government specifically keeps that under wraps from the media. I don't know. Guns in Australia would definitely be the downfall of our grand and prosperous nation that is our continent. Oh yeah, the sovereign nation of Australia that is totally not dominated by a right-wing political two-party system. Scraping ice off your windshield after work yesterday and had to call the cops to report shots fired from behind the fire station. Fuck's sake. That's terrifying. Good lord, like, I'd be scared of living in low-income America. I mean, we all know how bad low-income America is on numerous levels. Because I'm in low-income Australia. I'm in a low-income suburb, you know? And I know how often you hear about people getting killed because shots have been fired through their window. People have died from being in the crossfire in their own home. Even in your own house, you're not safe. It's fucking terrifying. And you're from New Zealand. I want to move to New Zealand. I will admit I have a bit of a political crush on Jacinda Ardern. I know she's not available to me, but still, she's kind of bae. Anyway, and like just everything, New Zealand seems like such a good place. Even though I know there's a pretty big racism problem over there, unfortunately. Why is there so much racism? Why do people have to do a racism? And you got to hold a duckling. There you go. That's good. That's some good vibes. Let's get rid of the political for a second. Let's just have some duck nonsense. Some duckling nonsense. Heck yes. Ducklings. Oh, you're from Alabama, where one of the first places you think of when you think of low-income, right-wing, redneck Americans. Yeah. See, that would scare the hell out of me. Do I watch Pinippy? I do, occasionally, yeah. She's pretty cool. We have some interactions back and forth. I wouldn't necessarily call her a friend, but I'd say we're friendly. At the very least. That's what's tricky about being a streamer, especially with like having online relationships with people. Is like, I consider Pinippy and I friendly acquaintances. You know, we chat back and forth on Twitter occasionally. And I've been in her stream and she recognizes me. But yeah. You gotta go now. Have a good one, Rena. Please stay safe. Fingers crossed for you. Love your face. Why not just nonsense? That's all I talk about is nonsense. You learn the word kumianka in Finnish. It means rubber duck. Your friend said you'll never use that. Been able to 3 times since you learned it. Good. There you go. Kumianka popping up everywhere. Perfect. And we have our king of ducks, Calgar, in here right now. Which is fantastic. As we're sitting here chilling out. Talking about political nonsense. I said to myself I was going to try to play a game tonight. And I think I'm just too good at talking for hours on end. Maybe I'm just arrogant and narcissistic, definitely. But I think I just enjoyed this format so much. I think we will do a gaming stream soon. I don't know what. I have been craving some Dark Souls. I've been craving some... I want to do a PS4 game stream soon. But the problem is, my situation doesn't really befit having a console in my room. But yeah, at the same time, it's like... I just always go live and just chatting to begin with now. And if it doesn't change from that, I'm like, okay. That's cool. Kumiyanka themed bathroom switches out the Kumiyanka based on the season. That's cool. And I'm not huge on ducks or anything, but I'm definitely changing in general. Present a topic. I'll click on that in a sec, Brogan. That's a good one. Okay. Fucking Sky News is shit. They are. Not specifically about the rubber ducks thing, but in general, I have been definitely changing my overall visual aesthetic with things, and I am, for the first time in my life, considering houseplants. The first time in my life, I'm considering buying a plant or a few to keep in my house. Get some greenery in here. And I'm like, I've never wanted to do that. And now I have this craving for it. I want to have plants. And I'm like, why the fuck? Why the fuck would it want? Why have I changed? For the better. I'm becoming so much more environmentally conscious. But I do remember reading about this, unfortunately. J.K. Rowling isn't transphobic, says gender fluid Eddie Izzard, Eddie Izzard has recently announced that they want to live in girl mode from now on and have their pronouns referred to as she and her. Primarily, they want to be like they've often spoken. Obviously, if you know Eddie Izzard, you know they have been throughout their career gender fluid, which is it's fine, totally good. Who uses both male and female pronouns? Well, not anymore. Has defended J.K. Rowling against accusations of transphobia. And she's allowed to do that, yes. I just thought I'd throw that out there as a fun fact. The Harry Potter author attracted criticism last year after she took issue with the phrasing for an article about healthcare equality, titled, Opinion Creating a More Equal Post-COVID-19 World for People Who Menstruate. People who menstruate, I hate reading this over and over again. I'm sure there used to be a word for those people, she tweeted. Someone help me out. Wumban, whimpered women. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up, Joanne. There's Eddie Izzard. Comedian says she hates the fact that there is fighting over the issue. It's because... The reason there is fighting over the issue is because, specifically, Joanne Rowling is a privileged billionaire who keeps dragging this issue out when she does not at all, in any reasonable way, shape, or form, need to. She has no need to comment on it. I'm going to throw this out there right now. Here is my 100% final take on the transphobia issue. Unless you are transgender or an ally, you do not need to comment on trans people. End of discussion. Shut the fuck up. Get out. Unless you are trans or an ally, do not comment on our existence. You don't have the authority. Anyway. Rowling vehemently denies that she is transphobic and wrote a lengthy blog statement. She wrote a fucking novel, of course she did. Izzard called for a more measured reaction to the writer's stance on trans issues. What? Don't think J.K. Rowling is transphobic. She is. Think we need to look at the things she has written about in her blog. Women have been through such hell over history. Trans people have been invisible too. Hate the idea that we are fighting between ourselves, but it's not going to be sorted with the wave of a hand. We don't have all the answers. If people disagree with me, fine, but why are we going through hell on this? Because she keeps bringing it up. It's her fault. Don't deflect the blame. Don't victim blame us. I'm sorry, Eddie, but don't victim blame us. The actor and comic made headlines in December after being referred to as she/her while posing for the contestants on Sky Art's painting competition, Portrait Artist of the Year, saying she wanted to be based in girl mode from now on. Widely reported that Izzard had adopted... Well, I mean, this is not really... We already covered this. Lesbian trapped in a man's body. That was my problem for a good long while there. Anywho. Do you want to know how... just how specifically that relates to me, that comment? I don't talk about this often. I don't know if you know this, but I lived as a man for a very long time. And it strikes me now how many of my romantic partners that I went after as a man were very, very based in lesbian attraction, if that makes sense. Purple Army, how you doing? How you going? I know it's crazy. I lived as a man. Okay. Up until like August of the past year. Writes an entire anti-trans manifesto. Oh my god, guys, why are we fighting? I know, it's stupid. She absolutely is transphobic. Can you ask a question about transitioning? Your boyfriend is not very educated on LGBTQ stuff, and he had to question. You don't know the answer to. Absolutely. Absolutely ask the question. I will try to answer it to the best of my ability. Always. The fact that you can have little jokes about it here and there is good, honestly. There was a period where I was just like, I'm going to go blank slate start over. Right? Am I in front of the chat? No, I'm not. I wanted to completely wipe my old self off the face of the earth and never refer to him again. But now, like, in the past couple of months, maybe I'm just, like, more comfortable with me. I am now comfortable with myself discussing my pre-transition self. To an extent, I don't want to go on about it. But I don't mind it as much. I don't like saying my dead name, and I definitely do not like being referred to as he and him. Even if you're referring to past me, for whatever reason, I don't know what reason you would have to, honestly. Still refer to me as she and her. Nothing wrong with being cis as long as you don't attack people who aren't for not being cis. Exactly, yes. And like, people are anyone's welcome here. Straight cis white males are welcome here. Just as long as they are not here to cause a fuss. You know, and again, if you are trying to discredit our existence for any reason, just shut that topic out of your brain immediately. There's no reason to, like we mentioned the other day, the Maj Touré, the guy who's very pro every black person should have a gun in America. I agree with his stance. I agree that black people should be armed in America. They should be able to defend themselves because there is obviously a very big white supremacist issue in America. And the issue I have with him, though, on top of that, is the fact that he specifically went out of his way to make the argument about words have meanings, and someone born a male is still a male. And even if I'm in conversation with a person, I'll refer to them by their chosen pronouns, but the reality is there's still it's always trans women that get the tail end of this. Much love to my trans masculine friends, family, and all you folks. But it definitely feels like the majority of transphobic discourse is specifically directed at trans women. There is obviously, what's her name? There was a book written by Abigail Shrier, or whatever her name is, which was specifically targeting trans men, trans masculine people. But even the Ben Shapiro video that we reacted to a little while back, where he talked about the Ben Shapiro thing, where he talked about Elliot Page, and the Isaac Butterfield video we talked about, where we reacted to both of these videos. The Isaac Butterfield video where he's talking about the trans Jedi. In both circumstances, Elliot Page, trans masculine person, wants to be referred to as he and him. Right? Ben Shapiro still skewed towards the trans women in bathrooms thing towards the end of his video. And Isaac Butterfield, again, talking about, well, the problem with the trans Jedi thing was he started talking about trans and then skewed into sexuality. Gender and sexuality, two separate topics. Completely separate topics. I don't know why he decided to go into the bisexual thing when it was talking about the possibility of a throwaway trans Jedi character, most likely. Favorite streamer is banned on Twitch, but anyways, follow your dreams no matter what people think. Exactly. Follow your dreams. Be who you want to be, who you can be. Be the best you that you can be. Closest friends are majority cis, but in the last year you met a friend who's trans and it's helped you get more comfortable around trans people. Never had much of any interaction before. Yeah. And that's been a kind of a moment for me, I think. I think my friends and... Oh, your question. Sorry, your question. Let me go back. Asking about your voice changes the process and if the hormones do it naturally. Not for me. Okay, here's the thing about hormones, right? Estrogen has a number of effects on me. Not going to affect my voice. This is all me trying my damnedest to heighten my vocal tone and the manner in which I speak. But if you're transmasculine and you take testosterone, that does deepen your vocal cords. There is actually a good example of this. Look up female bodybuilders who are on steroids. and watch videos of them, and their voices are significantly deeper because it deepens their vocal cords. But for women, for trans women on estrogen, you don't get any sort of vocal changes. You can have a surgery which can have a minor pitch shift effect, but it obviously, surgery is expensive. You don't know how I sounded before. Didn't get to check you out back then. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you like my voice at the very least. I think I actually, funnily enough, I think there was definitely a factor of me deepening my voice when I was self-identifying as male. So my voice has always kind of had this kind of tone to it. I'm just focusing more on sounding as feminine as I can. And I think over time, I'm developing my voice. If you go back and you watch some of my earlier videos after I came out, I think you'll notice there is a bit of a vocal shift there. It's been pretty gradual, and I'm trying to work on it. Because some people will do vocal training specifically for the purposes of heightening their voice and sounding more feminine. Some people had the fortune of transitioning as a teenager before testosterone took a hold on their vocal cords, and as a result, they have a heightened pitch. Fucking asshole spelling. Radio broken. Have a good look. Took you a while to change pronouns for people at first, just because at first you try to make a conscious effort to get it right, and you feel horrible. Yeah, and I think, we do make people feel horrible for it. But only because, it makes us feel bad if someone misgenders us. But at the same time, I'm understanding. My mother is getting better at it. She's been getting better at referring to me as she and her. My kids are getting good at it. I think my son referred to me as he today, and my daughter corrected him, which was awesome. I'm glad she's becoming understanding of it. It's great. Been practicing trying to get rid of the mindset male voices versus female voices. That's true. You know what's a good example? That song that goes like, "You got a fast car," whatever it is. I forget what that song's called. But I thought that song was sung by a male for the longest time. That's a woman. That's a woman's voice. And I mean like a cis woman. Tracy Chapman, is that it? Yeah. The longest time, I thought that was a man's voice. And when it comes on sometimes, I'm just like, oh, it's this dude. And I'm like, oh, fuck, no, that's a woman. Yeah, that's the thing. You're just against trans kids. What do you mean against trans kids? The reason we want to protect trans kids is because we want them to grow up into trans adults. That's the unfortunate reality of the situation. Trans children can self-identify. I've known since I was like 14. But, due to social pressure, I suppressed hard. I didn't get to transition until August of last year. I'm 31. Hey, Dr. Fajar, how you doing? I think I've known since I was a teenager. And I suppressed it so heavily, and it took such a mental toll on me. I think it amplified my depression and my anxiety for the longest time, because I felt like I had to... I'm going to stop playing with this before I break it. I'm going to play with my blue tack again. I'm a fidgety fucker, okay? What was I going to say? Let me get my thoughts around this. I've known since I was a teenager, and I think I amplified my mental health issues by trying so hard to present as male. Trying so hard to be everyone's perfect image of what I was supposed to be. And after transitioning, I've not felt depression.
Welcome to the Rogue Room.
Dr.
We hope you
Fajar.
enjoy your stay.
Welcome to the Rogue Room. Grab a drink, sit down, chill, hang out. We love you. We love having you here. Let me think for a second. I think people... you think people doctors hand out hormones like M&Ms. They don't realize it's a long process. It is. It's a very long process. They still need to go through, especially when they're younger. They need to go through a whole medical process. I had to go to my GP first. And I had an easy go of it. And I'm a fully grown adult, and I'm mentally sound. I went to my GP... And they were like, we'll assign you to a psychologist. Okay. I go to a psychologist. I have a chat.
Welcome
I come back
the
to my
Rogue
GP.
Room.
Nix.
We hope you enjoy your stay.
Welcome to the Rogue Room. Please take a seat, grab a drink, chill out with us. Thank you so kindly for joining. I went to my GP, my general practitioner. He assigned me to a psychologist. Went and had a chat with the psychologist. After that, went back to the GP, had a good chat with the psychologist, and they're just like, okay, we'll assign you to an endocrinologist. We'll refer you to an endocrinologist. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Went to talk to the endocrinologist. Cost me like $400. It's not cheap. But I did get most of that back on Medicare rebate. And the endocrinologist just went over all of the effects of hormones with me, and then gave me an informed consent form. I signed it, I sent it off, I had my script for testosterone blockers within the week. And then after 2 months being on testosterone blockers, they got me started on estrogen. I had a very, very easy go of it. I'm still, and like in a couple of months' time, I'm going back to the endo. We're going to bump up my dosage. As for surgery and all that, that's a whole other issue. That's a lot of cost there. I haven't actually, as far as I know, we could still use the informed consent model for surgery too. I could just go, I want to have the surgery. They could assign me to a surgeon. I just have to cover the cost. But hang on. So let's go back a bit. But yeah, generally speaking, especially towards teenagers, they're not just giving these kids medication on a whim. And as much as dissidents to the notion of puberty blockers like to state, puberty blockers are entirely reversible. This has been studied. And the unfortunate thing is, like, trans science is fairly minimal because there's not a lot of trans people. So the knowledge we do have is not as much as regarding other medical issues. But putting a kid on puberty blockers, again, the effects of those puberty blockers can be reversed. Surgery, less so, obviously. If you get genital surgery, if you get top surgery, it's a little bit more difficult. But if you go to the extent of going through all of that surgery and then detransitioning, I hate to break it to you, but people make questionable decisions with their body all the fucking time. What do you if one person detransitions, that should not be a basis to take away the rights of every other trans kid. To take away puberty blockers from trans kids. To take away the prospect of hormone replacement therapy for trans kids. If one or two people, like, listen, the reality of the situation, I don't have the science on me right now, but I have read it. Detransitioners are such a minority within a minority that you cannot legislate based on a few detransitioners. You just can't do that. That's my big issue with the detransition thing. And anyway, there are bad actors out there that are trying to make it sound like 10-year-olds just walking into doctors and walking out with hormones. Yeah, exactly. And the issue you have with trans kids is, this probably isn't anywhere close to a common thing, but throwing very young people on hormones can massively damage them. Well, yeah, like it's, like we said, yeah, puberty blockers, it just blocks testosterone and estrogen. That's all it does. And then you can still get put on those later on if you decide, I'm not trans, for example. Puberty blockers, no, they stop working. If you stop taking them, they stop working. Like, if you start taking estrogen, like I have been, like I am doing, if you stop taking it, no, I have been taking it, if you stop taking it, the effects go away. Like, I've heard stories of people who've been on estrogen and for various reasons have had to come off it, who've grown breasts and lost them after coming off the estrogen. Like, the effects can go away. Primarily because, you know, your body is, unfortunately, there is some actual biology here. Your body is designed to produce certain hormones. There are people who've been on hormones for 10 years. Like, there have been trans women on hormones for 10 years, for example, going off their hormones and are able to produce active sperm that can foster a child. Like, yeah. A lot of people think that hormone replacement therapy is just absolutely... Yeah, Gigi Gorgeous' video on the subject, the sperm bank experience. If one woman doesn't want to get pregnant, does that mean no one can get pregnant? That's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same kind of topic. It's the situation with abortion too. And I feel like my ability to speak on abortion is not the greatest, but it's the same kind of situation there, where... Yeah, I feel like I don't have the authority to speak on abortion as someone who can't produce a child. But it's like, if one woman decides to get an abortion, doesn't mean you have to have one if you're pregnant. So the whole point of pro-lifers, for example, is moot. Just because someone else can have an abortion, doesn't mean you have to have an abortion. No one's forcing you to have an abortion. That's not, I mean, no, I'm not, because one person can't decide. No, I'm agreeing with you, Fluffy. I'm 100% agreeing with you. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you agreeing with me. That, like, I'm making the same point. Using more examples. Why aren't these people against other forms of cosmetic surgery when there are also people who regret having them sometimes? Against other forms of cosmetic surgery. I think there are people who are. I think it's just a different type of... What's the argument someone made about people regret having tattoos all the time? People get huge, ugly, badly done tattoos and destroy their body with them all the time. I mean, it's like, I want to invert my penis. You know? Like, is that not just another form of body modification? Realistically speaking? People go into body modding places and get their nipples removed. Some people literally have a fetish for having their limbs removed, and they do it. Okay? It's ridiculous to be against it. And it's puritanistic. Puritanical. To be against it. It's so asinine. We shouldn't listen to these people. They shouldn't be allowed to have any influence on issues that do not concern them. Again, coming back to the cis thing. Like, if you are cisgender and you are not an ally, shut your mouth. Nobody needs your input. You don't have the experience that trans people have. There's no reason for you to comment on it if you are not an ally. If you are critical of trans people, take that shit and go the fuck away from trans people. That's it. Life is special, but that doesn't mean people should be forced into giving life to someone that can ruin a person more than people would expect. So fuck people who think they know best because they don't. Exactly. You know? I want 2.5 limbs. Don't do it. It's a trap. Gender fluid, and before lockdown, you had at least one Indian auntie telling you every day that you need to wear skirts and be more feminine. Why, though? What business is that of hers? Right? That's like with Abby Shapiro's video, and I think Ben Shapiro did the video again about the Harry Styles thing. And first and foremost,
Welcome
let's get
to the Rogue Room.
Jamzo.
We hope you enjoy your stay.
Zook? That's a cue. Welcome to the Rogue Room. Sit down, grab a drink, chill out, hang out. Hope you're doing well. Am I a what gamer? Anyway, as I'm saying, like with Ben Shapiro and Abby Shapiro commenting on the Harry Styles wearing a dress thing, which was just for a photo shoot. Just wearing a dress for a photo. Who fucking cares? And it's an atrocious dress. It's an atrocious dress, but like they're commenting on how it's not masculine, how it's not manly. It's like, does it affect you? What do you think Harry Styles wearing that god-awful dress is going to do? What do you think the impact is going to be, first and foremost? Like, I don't think it's going to destroy masculinity. Him posing for a magazine in a dress. That's not going to destroy masculinity. The point I was going to make before is like numerous rock stars throughout modern musical history have posed in dresses and full makeup. Like, musicians are fucking weird regardless. The person you're never going to meet wore a dress. It's like, what? How does it affect you? That's the thing that gets me. It's like, why are you commenting on it? Why do you care? And the thing is, I know Ben Shapiro, Abby Shapiro, Isaac Butterfield, Joe Rogan, and all these people, they're content creators. They're doing it because they know it'll get them clicks. But the thing that annoys me is not them specifically. I'm using them as the example, but it's not them specifically. It's the people who have no influence commenting on it. The literal nobodies who are going to parrot these viewpoints. They'll see the person wearing the dress, and even without having watched Ben Shapiro's video, even without watching Abby Shapiro's video, Isaac Butterfield probably
Welcome to the Rogue Room. We
Risky.
hope you enjoy your stay.
Abdila, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Rogue Room. Sit down, chill out, have a drink, hang out with us. We hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good one. It's the people who just will see it reported on the news. Harry Styles seen wearing a dress in a photo shoot for a magazine. No other context given. No punditry involved. And these people will immediately jump to that's not masculine, that's not what men look like. Who are you to decide that? Why does it affect you that much? Why are you so upset? Could it possibly be that the masculinity you do have, if you happen to be a male, or the masculinity you value as a female, or whatever, could it possibly be that that masculinity that you hold so dear is fragile? Little baby. Anyway, that's a point. That's political. It counts. Your nephew wears frozen dresses, nobody even bats an eye. It's like, okay, cool. It reminds me of like the thing. This is what's funny though. Like on the other end of the spectrum, you flip the coin on its head. There was a situation a little while back. Or toxic masculinity. Toxic, fragile. There's a number of words there. It reminds me of the little story a little while back of a dad getting dressed up in a frozen dress and his son getting dressed up in a frozen dress, and they're dancing around singing to Let It Go. And it's like, why is this newsworthy? It's a dad playing with his kid. Why is this news? It's cute, but why is it news? Why are they making a big deal of it? It doesn't need to be made a big deal of. And they know the reason they do it, I'll tell you why. Because they know that kind of video is divisive. They'll present it in a, oh, look at this cute father and his son dressing up together, singing a girly song together. Isn't it adorable? And they know it's going to rile up that masculinity crowd again. It's the gayest idea ever. Honestly, it kind of is. If you look at masculinity, a good example of how, and I'm not demeaning gay people, but masculinity in bodybuilding, for example. I have followed the bodybuilding community for a while now. The bodybuilding community is like one of the gayest communities on the planet. It's all men appreciating other men's bodies. There's no problem with that. But they are also the kind of people who will assert they love women. They have to let you know that. All the while, they're working on their bodies to the utmost of their ability and admiring other men's bodies constantly. Time for sleep, Radio Human. Have a good one. Have a good one. It's 11:25. This is the latest stream I've done in a while. Isn't it adorable how those two people are not adhering to gender roles? It's crazy. Gender roles? Just kiss his cheek and quit asserting how straight you are. Exactly. Why does it matter? It's so important to these people. I feel like that kind of man is not masculine in your opinion of what masculine is. It's like, yeah, we have ideas of what masculine is. They tan and oil their bodies. How can they not see the irony? I think a lot of bodybuilders are self-aware. Unfortunately, though, like a lot of them are also misleading as all hell, because there's no such thing as natural bodybuilding. There's no such thing as bodybuilding as a sport. There's steroid bodybuilding. So they go out of their way to achieve the most aesthetic physique possible by any means necessary, which is often thousands of dollars spent on drugs. It also reminds me vaguely of this thing that I saw on like The Footy Show, which for those of you who are for some reason unable to infer from that title, it's a show of typically a panel of men talking about football. And they had one of these typical athletes on The Footy Show, and they had a bench press set up, and he was doing like, he was one of the members of the football team or whatever, and they had him on as a guest, as a panelist. They were interviewing him, and then they were just like, oh, we got this bench press over here set up, and it had like 100 kilos on it. So 2 plates on either side of the bar, 100 kilos. And they had him. I don't know how nobody would have clocked this. Maybe some people are just not as aware of steroids as I am. But they got him on this bench press and had him do 44 reps on 100 kilos. That's not possible without steroids. But that's a whole other thing. 100 kilograms for 44 reps. He's there in a suit, pumping. And I mean, he's not struggling. He's going like this. Now you could argue possibly it was, and it's meant, that was supposed to be obviously a show of masculinity, a display of how manly he is. But of course, like you look at it and you're just like, oh, yeah, steroids. Absolutely, it could have been fake. Could have been fake plates, because I could probably do quite a few reps on a 20 kilo bar by itself. 20 kilos, I could easily do 20 reps, 30 reps. If they just had that and some like empty weight plates on there, yeah. But if those were real plates, that's a display of masculinity because of like, he's strong. He's wearing a suit. He's an athlete. He's this big bodybuilder dude. That's the epitome of masculinity, right? Remind me of Colossal is Crazy with how I speak sometimes. I'll have to look up who Colossal is Crazy is because I have no context for that at the moment. In what way? It's also funny how women have beauty pageants, but men have to call theirs a sport. It's true. It's not a sport. It's not a sport. Bodybuilding is inherently political as well. That's another thing. It's like the majority of these bodybuilders going up to the judges and knowing, getting to know the judges intimately. Like, Phil Heath won Mr. Olympia back in 2018 or something, and he had the absolute worst bubble gut I think I've ever seen. It was 2018, 2019. It was a little while ago now. And he went up on stage and he looked atrocious. And he won the Olympia. I'm like, why did he win the Olympia? Because he's friends with the judges. His opponent was demonstrably better looking in every conceivable way. His back, his torso, his arms, his legs, everything was better on this other guy. Eurovision? I don't know anything about Eurovision. I'm completely blank culturally on that one. But it's probably the same thing. Any kind of awards show, again, same situation. They're just people manipulating each other to get awards. I guess Australia is in Eurovision, yeah. Because Guy Sebastian, who I can't stand, was on it one year. Used to be friends with Keemstar before having a falling out with him. He comes from that leafy as hair breed of commentary YouTubers, but he's funny. And he outright killed a guy's career. The guy was a pedo with a single 2-hour interview with him. Interesting. Interesting. There's an idea. I should go and kill people's careers. Start drama. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that Eurovision is political. That would make sense. That would make the most sense. Oh, what time is it? It's 11:30. The popular non-violent country. The country where there's not currently an insurrection going on wins every time. Colossal is Crazy Lion Maker. Alright, I'll give that a look later. I am getting hungry. I'm getting a bit hungry. Where's my phone? I'm going to check how many calories I've eaten today because I feel like it's probably not enough. Blah. And yeah, I've been streaming for like 2.5 hours straight right now. So let's have a gander. Let me just quickly check my MyFitnessPal thingy-majiggy. I am at 1,739 calories consumed today. And I think I missed something in here, though. So I can bump that up just a tad. I've had 3 of those. There we go. 1,929 calories. I'm losing weight. I'm still focusing on getting down to at least 70 kilos. I'm at about 71.5. How to grow boobs with diet. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I'm not developing yet. I mean, I've only been on estrogen 2 months. I've been told it can take up to 4 or 6 or even longer before they start coming in. But I've only been on estrogen 2 months. And I'm like, I'm trying to lose weight, so there's probably no fat generating in my body right now. I'm not eating enough for it to even start happening. It is possible, yeah. But again, like, the science is difficult because growth is often minimal. The growth is often minimal in trans people, especially like adult trans people who start transitioning in adulthood. And I think... Let me think for a second. What was the... Oh, yeah, like the measurements they did. Again, the science... There's only been a few test subjects. You're a cis woman and still haven't developed. Rip. I mean, it can still be... There's no... You don't need to have boobs. You don't want. The headband thing, oh, thank you. I bought a bunch of head stuff recently. I actually tweeted about it. You just want to grow them more. You could try progesterone, that pregnancy hormone. That is apparently a thing that trans people use to grow theirs. Anyway, I posted this today because I do have a tendency to buy things for my head. These are scarves over here. There's scarves over there. But like, I keep buying headbands. I bought this Paisley bandana, scarves. Before I transitioned, I had a huge collection of caps. I still do. There's like 28 caps. I have a crown. And of course this headscarf thing, which I absolutely love. There's me without makeup on my own stream. That's crazy, dude. And here's me wearing the tiara for the record. For the record. What do I see changing first with Biden in charge? I'm not sure, honestly. I have a crown. It's like $30. Don't get too excited. It's cheap. Cheap garbage. It's cute as fuck. I've worn it on stream one time. But yeah, like with the boobs thing. They did some tests on a number of subjects. This was like one scientific test. I don't know if there's others. Because I've heard of like cis adults who've grown to like D cups. Not cis adults, trans adults. I've heard of people who transitioned in adulthood who've grown to D cups or more. And I've heard of others who've had barely any growth. Trump 2020? Friend, what year is it? What year is it again? He was president in 2020. The Capitol people had a Trump 2020 zone. Yeah, it's funny because like they had merch done up for like MAGA Civil War and all that. They planned that, but they didn't think Trump 2020 signs. I suppose you know for the previous election, but it's like literally, 2021 now. You guys are a bit behind. They didn't think ahead, unsurprisingly. The rightoids didn't think ahead. What were we talking about? Before we got into my hair things. Oh, tits. Are we allowed? Just for the record. If I do get some knockers going, if something does happen in that area. This is the thing, right? I'm not going to show you, because obviously these are feminine nipples now. I have appeared shirtless on stream on one occasion, and people have seen my nipples on stream in the past. But I've got some mass there. There is mass there. Alright? But it's important to remember that I go to the gym and do bench press routinely. So I'm of the belief, and it's hard to tell, that these are pecs. And I've lost weight, and thereby the muscles I do have would be more prominent on my body. But it's hard to tell. Like, for example, muscle's hard. Muscle's pretty... Like, my bicep right now, I'm not even really flexing it. I'm just, like, holding my arm at this angle. My bicep is hard. Whereas, this area is kind of tender and soft. So... And also my chest muscle strength is fucking dog shit right now. I'm gonna blame the estrogen and the T blockers for that. Tits can't be considered tits until they produce at least 10 gallons of milk. I want Ash Coffin knockers. That's what I want. Ash Coffin titties, thanks. Can I just be Ash Coffin? And her hair. Oh my god. I have a crush on her in the sense that I want to look like her. Is that a thing? Ash Coffin. Look her up. I want her knockers and I want her hair. Yes, Ash Coffin. The Scottish girl with the big boobies and the very big hair. She's got lots of hair. It's fucking glorious. She has a mane. Just Google her. I'm not going to bring her up on stream. Like, she doesn't ever show anything aside from cleavage, but I'm not going to bring her up on stream because even the cleavage might be TOS. I feel like this discussion is TOS, not hairy boobs, no. Not even that big, no. I think they're big, but she definitely plays it up a lot and knows her angles. It's all lighting and angles. That's all it is. Cleavage is dope. It is. I want cleavage. I mean, there's this kind of cleavage, but again, I can't tell if these are tits or pecs. Need Jesus? No, I don't. I don't need Jesus. Why would I need Jesus? Like, what's Jesus gonna do? Just like, pad the rest of that out. What's Jesus gonna do? What's that gonna help me with? Help me how? Jesus needs us, he's dead. I believe the man existed. I don't disagree with the idea that Jesus Christ was a man that existed, but what's a corpse gonna do for me now? I've got a bag of plastic bones down here. I've got a skull, actually. I've got a plastic skull. It's pretty shit. I wouldn't mind like a big, solid replica skull that I could sit the tiara on. If I go back to that photo on Twitter, right? No, that's Twitch. Twitter. If I go back to, not this one. Take me back to the... Fuck, where is it? Give me a sec. Let me find the post. Yeah, if I take me back to... There. You can only really see, like, the bottom half of the skull. But I've got a plastic skull that my tiara sits on. That's specifically for the tiara, because it's cute, alright? I forget why I brought that up. Oh, yeah. I've already got fake bones around. I don't need the bones of some old dead guy who a bunch of people decided was super important to society for some reason. Again, what's Jesus gonna do? What's... More bobs, please. Yes, please, Sep. Please, more bobs. Big bobs, hot, yeah, everyone. Boobs of all sizes are valid and beautiful. Exactly, 100%. We love them. We love titties. Titties are dope. Jesus. Jesus needs tits. Oh God, I want to get that on a bumper sticker. I don't do the bumper sticker thing. But if I were to do a bumper sticker, it would be Jesus needs tits. 2020. Oh, can we get some Rule 34 Jesus with tits going? Rule 63 Jesus, please. Rule 63, Rule 63, Rule 34 Jesus, please. Jesus with tits. If it exists, there's porn of it. And if it exists, there's a gender-swapped version of it. Why is it every time someone says, I want a skull, I immediately think of to be or not to be? Well, that's... who's that from again? I forgot. Is that Shakespeare or is that someone else? Because it's Hamlet, yeah, because I'm pretty sure that's where Alas, poor Yorick came from. I'm not sure, I'm not certain. Much as you like big titties, you can appreciate small ones just as much. I mean, this feels weird to say, but like... No, I'm not going to say it. You know, I'm not going to say it. I was going to talk about a past flame who would never have me anymore, sadly. And I suppose I'm glad that we did break up, because if I stayed with her, I may have never came out. Because I wasn't interested in women. Let's leave that topic. I was gonna... Yeah, no. We're still on titties. How long can we talk about titties for on Twitch before Twitch steps in and they're just like, hey, this is against TOS. There are children on this website. Twitch really needs to lock down exactly what their terms of service enforcement is. Twitch's TOS is terrible. It's really, truly woeful. When... And, like, I keep seeing comments about this, because of course I do, but, like, recently a body painter got banned for body painting after Twitch went out of their way to clarify their stance on body painting on the platform, and they're okay with it if certain conditions are met, and those conditions were met in regards to her, and yet still she received a ban for it. And people still have strong issues, she's gonna get unbanned soon, apparently. There was another one who got banned, though. Trans Pride Worldwide, thank you, Barwick. There was another one who got banned recently. No, a while ago, sorry. And as far as I know, she's still banned on the platform, again, for body painting. Which, again, Twitch outlined is okay if requirements are met. The requirements were met, still got banned. What's the fucking go, Twitch? What's wrong with Twitch's terms of service enforcement? You guys need to lock this shit down. You can't keep adding stuff to the TOS and then not enforcing it correctly. Tits aren't inherently sexual, and thus we're only being sexually suggestive. Can they come? Yeah. Exactly. It's stupid. Breasts are not inherently sexual. They're not. So, the fact that people are flying so far out of, going so far out of their way to make it an issue on Twitch. Like, people have bodies. There's someone who's got some fat knockers on Twitch, whose name is The Breastist, by the way, for the record. And it's like, they can set their username to that, and I'm sure somebody would find that channel and report her for wearing low-cut tops. Mind if you link the tweet? Go ahead, go ahead. I did not see your video of your erotic sausage. I probably won't watch it on stream, though, just in case. Just to protect myself. What was I going to say? Not TOS. Hang on. Hold on a sec. Let me review. Actually a sausage. I still don't trust that. Good lord. Yeah, I might not. It's suggestive enough that I think I might get in trouble if I were to... Anyway. That's another thing, though. Is like... You could show something that is suggestive. And yeah, I get it. It's like... This is where Twitch needs to step in and really clarify what kind of mature content's available on their platform. Because it's clear that they will allow you to show video games that have sex scenes in them, that have got full detailed genitalia in them, and breasts with nipples, and all of that kind of thing. And yet, if a woman has a wardrobe malfunction, or if, for example, a woman is dancing and happens to be busty, just like is a dancer who happens to be busty, not doing like a sexy dance, not strip teasing or anything like that, just dancing with having the audacity to have tits. Good night, Fox. Have a good one. They'll ban those people off the platform. Or like if somebody shows some GIF or what have you of something that's suggestive, and a Twitch staff member decides, oh, you know what? I don't like the fact that that's on the platform. I'm going to suspend them for X amount of time. Friends got one for doing the YMCA. Why? Why? Was that DMCA related? But yeah, like, I don't like the way Twitch runs things. I really do not. I find it irritating the way they operate. And I hope against all hope that shit changes, but it's very clear to me. Oh, she was singing herself. That's what's got me worried, is like, I've got my mother's acoustic guitar and I would like to do an acoustic practice stream. I'd like to learn how to play acoustic. I might even consider doing that tomorrow. I know how to play Baby Did a Bad Bad Thing by Chris Isaak. I know a bit of that. That's easy though. But the problem then, of course, is if I start doing that kind of thing, there's the issue, of course, of copyrighted material on Twitch as well, which is beyond Twitch's direct control. The terms of service stuff is within their direct control. But if I were to play other people's songs, practice other people's songs, that can get you struck for DMCA, which has affected a number of music streamers who've had to change the way they do things because they can't buy a license to practice. They can't do covers of X amount of songs or whatever. Like Lara6683, for example. I believe she's had issues. She can't play certain songs on stream anymore. Which is the problem. Like, you know, that kind of potentially invalidates the entire music category. I'm not even talking about political nonsense. Let's change this. Twitch sucks. Let's change the title. Twitch sucks. There we go. Because they do. Abby playing Sultans of Swing. Oh, God. I hate that I know exactly what you're referencing. It's like no one can really play that song as well as the... Hello, Jacinta, you lovely person, you. How you doing? Isn't that song, like, completely unique throughout its entire runtime and no one's ever been able to perfectly replicate it? Am I correct in my assumption there? I love the sound of Sultans of Swing. I need to listen to it again. It's a good fucking song. I heard someone play it once. Heard someone do a cover of it once, and they were fucking masterful. I couldn't hear a single note out of tune. But I do have my mother's acoustic now. Let me grab it for you. Let me grab it for you, doll. Don't look at my undies. As you can see, I have this thing. It's blue. I want to get a purple one. That'd be nice. I have my own... yeah, like I said, I can't play. But I got this thing. I'm going to try to practice it. I've tried before. I just have like I have a penchant for trying music and never being able to follow up. It's because you need to play the song with your finger rather than your pick. So yeah. I have this thing now. I can't use it. So don't expect anything. But I'm going to try to learn at some point. Don't ask me how the fuck I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to learn the Mandalorian theme. And then I'm gonna serenade Jacinta with it because she's a huge Star Wars fangirl. But like, I like that theme song, so I'd like to learn to play it. But generally speaking, I have a lot of fundamental, foundational shit that I need to work on first. So I've got that there, and I've got over here my own Ashton. This is mine, my electric. Which is what I've learned some things on. I've learned a bit of the Unforgiven by Metallica, for example. Need to pluck with both hands, it's not just one hand. Yeah, it's... God. Like, what? I don't. I cannot. I was like, the amount, like, at that point, you need to have been playing from a young age, and you need to have been dedicated to it from a young age. You need to be really devoted to music, and I just like the idea of being able to play a few songs. I did decide on nails. They are now trimmed, they are gone. They are out of here. My nails have been evaporated. I trimmed them, I cleaned them off. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a nice, like, tone similar to my skin. I'm going to paint them over. Or maybe pink or something, I don't know. Something chill for a while. Haven't decided yet. Don't think I'll regret it. No, I'm already enjoying it, because, like, I've been clacking on my phone a lot. And now I don't have that worry anymore. Like, when I was typing, and my nails would get in the way, I'm just like, this is fucking irritating. I'm glad to have them gone. Twitch sucks, by the way. We're just going to continue saying that. Oh, by the way, I think the way you play is you yell at the strings and do bad in school. Hi, Autumn. By the way, I'm sorry I missed you there. Why do people like long nails? It looks nice. I like the look of having long nails, but if I get them done again, I'm going to get, like, acrylics or something. Because I don't want to have to put up with constantly, I don't know, maintaining them. Mine were really flaky and fragile. They would crack all the time, and I would keep breaking them on stuff, so it's good to, like, get them back to this nice, neat length. You always paint them black because your emo life is pain. Black is good for nails. Black's really good for nails. Make your hands look better. You got short hands. Like, yeah, I mean, it can extend the nails. It gives that sort of, I don't know. It does give that lengthening look, because, I mean, your nails do look longer, because they are longer, obviously. Excuse me. Black as you go to. Black's good. I grew mine longer than you ever could. It took a while. What's my pronouns? Actually, I really need to add this to a button. My pronouns are she and her, which, if you have the pronouns extension, you can see little badges next to people's names in chat, which do not pop up on this little chat interface, but over there. There's a Chrome extension that allows you to show and set your own pronouns, which is fucking cool. And mine are she, her. There we go. How much can I bench? 50 kilos. I am piss weak at the moment. I hate it. I love it. It's good, but it's bad. I did at one point in the long past bench 100 kilos for 2 reps. Your pronouns are that cunt. One person literally once came into chat and asked what your pronouns were. You've never been so dumbfounded. Well, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, you've got people like Zombie Unicorn, for example, who her pronoun, or their pronouns, they're non-binary, right? So it's a thing. 50 kilos, what's that in American units? I believe it's 120 pounds. 118? Let me Google it. I think I get where you're coming from, though. Like, generally speaking, some people do infer. Actually, you know what? No, I did do 60 kilos on bench today. So I can do 60 kilos. 50 kilos is 110 pounds. So I did 135 pounds on bench today. Sorry. For 2 sets. The first set was 5 reps. The second set was 3 reps. And then I had to knock the weight down to 55. And then I had to knock it down to 50. So my bench game is weak as fuck. My squat game is weak as fuck. Deadlifts, I think I was doing 70s. Oh no, I can deadlift 75. So my deadlift is higher than my body weight at the moment, which is cool. goal would be to squat and bench heavier than my body weight. Because I'm 71 kilos at the moment. So working back up to that strength. I'm not going to get to the point I was before. I know that much. Because I'm literally on blockers that block testosterone production. So that makes me weaker by default. And I'm on estrogen, which I believe has a further weakening effect. Wasn't sure if he was making a joke, and he said he was absolutely serious. He was like, okay, well, she, her, call me what you want. When you used to lift, you went from 68 kilos to 90 kilos in your max benching. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I believe my record was 100, and that was with a spot. I did 100 for one rep with a spot, and so I was never really that strong to begin with. I'll deadlift you again as soon as I get the opportunity, Jacinta. Soon enough. But first, before I do that, I need to get like a legitimate job so that I can have more money and go to a more bougie gym where they have like gilded weight plates and stuff. That's my goal next. Most you can lift is food into your mouth. That's good. I need to lift food into my mouth though. I'm getting pretty hungry. I'm thinking we might call it there. Just about. It's like 5 to 12 at night. It's been a good stream. We've had some good chats. I have a running joke that women brain deletes gaming skill. Let me have a look here. Who's someone? Do we want to raid someone? Found a ring in a game. You were on average about 900 gold pieces. After selling this ring and a few other things, you have 11k gold pieces. Good on you. Good job. You know what? Let's go to Fragile. I'm thinking. Oh, don't play her stream yet. Don't play her stream yet. We'll go to raid Fragile Machine, I think. Thank you everybody for hanging out. It's been lovely. It's been great having you all here. You've been fantastic. The conversation has been phenomenal. I'm going to try to be live again tomorrow night. At 9 p.m. Fingers crossed. Everything goes smoothly. And hello. We're ending now. We're going to go raid Fragile Machine. Hey Sienna. We're literally ending. I hope you all enjoyed your stay. I don't have my like outro scene. I got this vaporwave scene over here. Thanks for hanging. Love you all. You've all been so good to me. You've all been so kind to me. And yeah, fingers crossed tomorrow we'll be live again. And Saturday. And then Sunday. We're going to go all the way through till next Wednesday at the very least. And I don't know if I'm going to be continuing to do daily streams, but I would like to. But the thing is, I also have videos to edit. I have guitar I want to practice. There's things I got to do. I have a kind of a job. So I got to devote some time to things beyond the stream, I guess. And then, of course, coming up with content for the stream itself. But anyway, thank you all for being here. You've been great. I love your faces. I'll see you when I'm looking at you. I bumped my mouse pad. Good night, everybody.
What am I wearing? It's so weird not seeing me in black.